Hello, everybody. My name is Lewis Lee, and this is Plan and Traffic. And as I say every week, we do this every week, Thursday night at 9 o'clock. So tell all your people that we talk car stuff, boat stuff, motorcycle stuff, anything to do with gas, we talk about it. And tonight we are kicking off some interior. We got the specialist coming in, my man Gil, and we're going to talk about interior, carpet, stereo installs, whatever you want to talk about. So if you're in the chat room, if you're live on Facebook or YouTube, you can comment in the chat room and we can see it live and we can go back and forth, ask questions, talk to you. So let's do that. What's up, Ray?
Lewis, good to be here. Good to see you. Good to be back. Kind of ironic, I keep the big book of guests here, and the last official guest we had was July 20th. And guess who it was?
Mr. Gil.
It was Gil. So he's got double booking here. That's great.
Yeah. I think, interior is starting to come in people's minds because of wintertime. A lot of people do their stuff in the winter. So I know I'm getting a lot of calls to do stuff over the winter. So
I tell you this, the interior guy who I commissioned to do custom seats to me, which he never finished the project. I still got to get my parts back. He did tell me. He said, the interior guy is like the appliance repairman. He said, everybody pays attention to all the other parts of a restoration, all the mechanical, maybe even electrical, of course, paint, body, wheels, all that fancy stuff. But he says the interior is always last, almost like it's an afterthought, even if it's just going to be a stock, recover the seats. And he says, and by that point, he goes, I'm always catching grief, like, oh, how come it's so much money? It costs because they blew their load 9 times on the other stuff that they upgraded throughout the build. He goes, and the last guy in the list always hears the sob story.
Yeah, crying.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's get the fellas in.
Hey, Gil.
Hey, how are you?
Hey, Gil, how's it going?
Good.
Man, every time I go through YouTube, or not YouTube, Instagram, some of your stuff pops up, man. Your guys are really good.
We are fortunate. We have a good team
crew
of craftsmen there. We definitely are blessed with a lot of talent, a lot of experience too. So.
Yeah. When I grow up, I want to be like you guys.
Oh man!
Have you ever added up the years' experience collectively with your crew?
So like the 3 trimmers, each of them have like at least 40 years each. So you're talking 120 right there just with the 3 trimmers. That's not even the fabrication people. It's just the guys that are behind the machines.
Very cool. So how did you end up with 3 guys that each have that much experience? Because there's usually sometimes there's one guy in the shop that's the old timer, but
Yeah, well, it was the game plan was to kind of being from New York, I took the New York Yankee approach. I went out and got the best free agents available and built a team.
You did a Steinbrenner.
Yeah, so I think if you ask a lot of guys in the industry, they'll say the worst part about the business is dealing with the people.
Right.
So basically, I went out there and said, listen, you can come here and just do the work, not have to deal with the people at all. We deal with the customers,
That's good.
And, I tell them my job's to get the cars in the shop. Your job's to get the cars out the shop.
That's good.
And, we were at the right place at the right time, getting some good people,
So I can just see the ad now. We'll train, trainees accepted, but otherwise 40 years or plus experience.
Yeah, minimum 40 years experience.
Wow.
And they all get along great together, So it's
that's
just
good. Well, you know why? Because they have nothing to prove.
Yeah,
They've already made their bones in 40 years. They know who they are. They know what they do, and other people probably do too. So
yeah, and there's a respect, amongst each other because they're they're guys that have been in the industry,
Right. That's great. Yeah, you're fortunate. You're a very fortunate man.
Yeah, and we always recruit, we're always looking for new talent, and we have guys come in and out and we give them a chance. And it's just, to me, it's beyond the sewing machine. It's if you get along with the rest of the guys or not, because I don't want to disrupt what we have just to get an extra guy there for a few days a week. It just doesn't, it's not worth it,
And oftentimes you never know how that's going to work until it either works or it doesn't.
Oh yeah.
because the shop is, I mean, the people are the people and you can know them. But the shop, I guess, experience and mentality, it kind of just, it's going to have a life of its own. Every shop does. And some of them you can work in and flourish. And because I've gone through it myself, and others I'm like, nah, I can't work. I couldn't work in this place.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good when you do get a home run like that. That's good.
And it's a nice setup too. Each person has their own station, so they have their own table, they have their own supplies, they have their own projects, and so it's almost like they can work independently. But when need be, they get together and help out on different projects and give each other a hand finishing up some pieces and installing pieces. So it's a big shop, so they all have enough space to work around.
That's a joy. I know the shop that I work at, I'm just doing mechanical work. I was at their other location a few weeks ago where I don't usually work, and there's a senior guy there who's been doing it for 50 years, and it was nice to be able to tap him on the shoulder and say, hey, Steve, can you come over here and give me a hand with this? Or I gotta figure something out. I'd like to have your take on what would you do. And now you got two minds looking at it, and you usually come up with something in the middle, and it's just a good feeling. You have confidence right from the start that this will get done.
Sometimes you just need a fresh perspective on something. Just
right.
Fresh set of eyes. Come look at this. What do you think?
Right. Exactly.
See, I have a hard time with that because it's just me. So when I'm doing stuff, I'm like, man, I should call somebody. I'm like, who am I call?
I know it is hard. I mean, you could always call and you could talk it out, but sometimes you have to see it. Sometimes you got to see it or have your hands on it, and then it becomes a package. It's mechanical.
Where I run into problems, I'm an artist, so when I'm doing stuff for myself, I never like it.
Right.
It's like, oh man, I'm never happy with it. You know what I mean? So I got a buddy that's an artist. And when I get to that point where I'm real frustrated, I'll call him and like, hey man, I got to come over, man. You got to look at this for me. So he'll give me some ideas, and then something will click. I'm like, oh yeah.
It's funny you say that, because on a related note, I mean, I've dabbled with art through my life. I don't consider myself an artist, but I've definitely done a lot of design work, mechanical design and CAD stuff and pen and paper. I'm always making sketches of things. I'm very visual that way. But when I had to lay out my wiring harness for this sniper system I put in my car, that damn thing gave me more trouble than anything. And the reason was it was pre-made. So it kind of laid out in a certain way. And it wasn't the way that I would have done it if I could have done it myself, Yeah. And it was in and out and in and out. And I was like, I was thinking about taking it apart and just redoing it. And I said, it's going to be that's a big project. So yeah, I'm thinking, every other guy in the world would take this thing and throw it in the car and be done with it. And they would never think twice. It's like, why am I so hung up on this?
Because you want it the way you want it.
That's your niche, right?
Yeah.
Right. And ironically, whenever I open the hood now, I apologize for it. I said, yeah, see that? I'm going to, what harness?
You pointed out.
What's the matter with that? Like, okay, good. Forget it.
I'll do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I decided to do the show on the bus tonight. Cool. I don't know, just wanted to see how the lighting was in there. It's terrible.
Yeah, it's kind of, you're on the dim side.
Yeah. So
not sharp. Not
sharp. See what I got going on a little bit.
Oh, wow.
So there's the door.
Okay.
Door over there, and the steps coming up.
Right.
And I moved the door from the front.
Yeah.
So there's the front. And I put welded in the floor, and I put a captain's chair for the wife.
Right.
And I made a small door. I was just going to do a window there, but I figured I'm building it, so I might as well do a little door too. And I made a storage under that on the steps. Good. So that's that part. And then there's my cabinets, and a hallway's going to dip out that way.
Right.
Then there's the bed in the back. That's where the magic's going to happen.
Yeah.
And then what they say on cribs, that's what.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can see it, but in the middle of the floor back there is the shower pan. I don't know if you can see it.
Okay.
But there'll be a wall there, so all that'll be walled up where you can't see.
Uh-huh.
And then so that's it. And that's my refrigerator.
It's nice to see it in in like real time instead of the fast forward that we're watching.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's he doing?
Yeah. And I started on the walls in the back, so I got those up. But as you see here, I ran out of spray foam.
Right.
So I got to order some more foam. Wasn't too happy about that situation, but that's another story.
Yeah, a lot of spray foam.
Yeah.
It was supposed to, the kit that I bought was supposed to cover 600 square feet. So that would have got me up to my seats here. But as you see, it stopped maybe 3/4. And, what do you do? So I'm going to give them a bad review when I get time to sit down and really give them a bad review.
Yeah.
Yep. And it didn't foam up like it was supposed to. They said it should be like 1.5 inches. In some spots, it didn't. It's like, I don't know, it's terrible. But you got to do what you got to do.
Right. And maybe the next batch will be like a batch and a half, maybe you'll.
Yeah, I get a smaller kit, 200 square feet. I should be good.
Yeah. Cool.
I know I'm putting the heater in this weekend because it's cold out here.
Yeah.
Now, what are you going to run the heat on?
I'm using diesel heaters.
Okay.
That they put in semis. I'm putting one in the back, one in the front, and I'm running it straight to my diesel tank. So
New York is still nice and warm.
Then I'll have mini splits, one in the front, one in the back, and they'll also have heat too. But I only use those when I'm plugged in because they'll use a lot of juice.
Right.
So I have 2 forms of heat. Actually 3, because I'm gonna put a wood burner in too.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great because on the road you can usually always find some wood.
Yeah, or something. I can put something in it.
Yeah, right.
I won't be cold, believe me.
Yeah.
All right, let's get the fellas in. We got Arco in the house.
Oh, cool.
We got No Class. We got the fellas. Tonight it's going down.
Brian.
Mr. Jim. How many people can we get on here? 9?
We've had like 8 or 9, I think.
Why do I want to say it's 10?
Yeah, maybe there might have been room for 10. Maybe if we lose a little bit of weight, we squeeze that 10th one in. I don't know.
While you're getting everybody in, I do have a question for you, Gil.
Sure.
On the materials, I was watching. I don't know. It was one of those Ken Diggett's or one of those shows, and they were doing the upholstery, and they were gluing the different foams together, then sanding down and so forth.
Yep.
Without getting too overly technical on this, what is the different colors and the different thickness or hardness of that? I mean, is there that many different types of foam?
Absolutely, yeah. Typically, the color refers to the density.
Okay.
So you'll see a lot of we use a lot of pink foam. That's kind of it's dense, but it's not the hardest type of foam. Like when you start seeing like that gray foam, that's really firm stuff. The blue is a little on the medium side. Okay. And they each have a different purpose. So you want your base to be your hardest form of foam, Typically, we'll do the pink layer, and it's really sandable, Okay. And then you just kind of go, you kind of lay out your shape, how you want your bolsters, and you kind of get a general idea of it, and then you can kind of start sanding it down. What we like to do is we'll make a template out of cardboard, the bolster shape, and then we'll take that template, draw it out on a sheet of foam, and then you use a bandsaw and you just cut all those pieces and then stack them together. Yeah. So instead of trying to create one big giant shape, you just create 10 pieces, glue them all together, and now you have a full bench seat. And they come in different thicknesses. You get anything. We have everything from 1 inch to 5-inch thickness.
Because I have actually 2 of my vehicles. Well, the tool truck hasn't gotten too bad yet, but I know it's on the way because it's just like my old tool truck. That starts to deteriorate, or it's, and it was funny. I almost made a comment, listening to Lewis with a spray foam. I mean, what do? Just pull back the the seat cover and get some spray foam. You let it foam up, you cut it down and put it back together. That's like the method of the duct tape and wire tie thing.
That would make it really firm.
Yeah, well, like I said, but I want to. I mean, I have on my Mustang. I've seen foam kits, and about changing the different types of seat, and I was just really curious on how much, or was there really that much of a difference? Because I see the different colors, and I like Ray says, I'm kind of a touchy feely guy. I like to see them and squeeze them all first before I pick one, but. I was just curious on how you did your base and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, the other thing that's going to make a difference is what you said there, the base, right? So if you just take foam and you put it on the old springs, I mean, you're going to feel that initial firmness of the foam, but the springs are going to give way the same way they did before. So, and then you can't just, like we're building a bench seat right now for that F100 we have in the shop. So we got rid of all the springs and we put a plywood base. Now you can't just put the plywood base and put foam on top because it'll look great sculpture wise. That cover will look nice and tight. It'll look nice shape to it. But on the outside, they're going to feel it.
Yeah.
So what we do is we'll take the plywood base, cut out a hole in it, and then we take elastic webbing and do almost a basket weave of webbing there, so that way there is some give to it, just in the seating area, just the two seating areas, and then that's how you do that. So you'll do the plywood, open up the space, put the webbing, put a layer of burlap there, and then the foam over it, and that's going to give you the best comfort because it'll give you some give to it, but it keeps the firmness in shape there.
Wow, that's really interesting. Maybe
I've never thought that.
Yeah.
Sorry guys, I unplugged my computer and it cut off.
Oh.
Hello.
You got to put two. It's like it was like on Sunday at the radio station. You just got to feed the machine with the quarters. I tell you, to keep everything going.
Let's forget about last Sunday. Let's concentrate on next Sunday.
Yeah, I know. Tell me about it. But no, I was just real curious. I never even thought, or like I said, the webbing. I can, because that was one of the, like one of the things I thought about on my seats. Even my Audi's the same way. Everything, like you said, it seems to be like the last thing that ever gets done is the interior. But even with the, like, you take the passenger side that never gets sit in, and it usually holds up better than the driver's side. When you have something that's 25, 30 years old or whatever, it's still a little better. But it is kind of funny how you can feel the springs in there, or you can feel the, it's not, I don't want to say comfortable, but you could feel that. And I guess with the webbing, if you do it that way, you're not going to have any of that. You're not going to have that metal with the foam, right? I mean,
yeah, no, it's the foam is the structure, and the webbing's giving you the support. So
yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's a pretty neat trick. I would have never thought that.
See,
I would have been buying springs.
giving away the secrets now.
Yeah,
that's right. You got to do a video now.
Gil,
It's on there. Actually, I think that one's coming out next week. That video we show it.
Oh,
Okay.
That's good.
So if you follow us on Instagram, we don't hide anything. We show all the little techniques. We show it.
Yeah.
What kind of precautions do you have to take when you're sanding that foam, with breathing wise?
So I'll tell you, it is the biggest comment we get when spraying glue and sanding foam, because people go crazy with sending us messages. No mask. What are you going to do? You're going to get sick, this, that, and the other, right? But what they don't understand is when we have everything set up, right, and we're filming, the mask comes off, right? So, and you're only seeing a few seconds of what's going on. And then we go away, the mask goes back on, and then they keep working. But So it's just really just you should wear a respirator, you know.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm. That's what. That's
Yeah,
what
no,
I'm
you
asking.
should. You should.
You know, when you are doing it the right way, what is entailed?
Yeah. So you,
What
you know,
level of respiration is needed for that foam?
yeah, that 3M, you know, respirator, you'll see like the gray in the middle and the two little
Right.
pink or white little
Sure.
things on the side. Yeah, for the filters.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
I
an
mean, that's-
N95. It's like
Yeah.
an N95 or whether that's the highest.
You should wear some kind of mask when sanding. With glue, if you're in a well ventilated area, like our shop it's a big shop. You know, 12,000 square feet. You know, there's a lot of space there. There's a lot of ventilation. You know, so is it critical? Not necessarily. But if you're in a car spraying down for carpet or a headliner, you should have a mask on as well.
Yeah.
So it's some pretty strong stuff. You know?
Yeah, you got. I know we've seen Arco in his full spacesuit when he
There you go.
grinds.
Got it. Yeah.
We know he's doing that, right?
As you can see, I got a spray foam on mine,
Yeah.
and I lost the side.
Oh man.
Do you use like 3M products, or do you have your own chemical? You know, do you make your own base, or are you using a name brand for your glues and supplies like that?
So for the glue, we use it's called Weldwood contact cement.
Yep, I use the same stuff.
Yep, and we like the natural, the clear, not the red or the green. We go for the natural glue color. So
Now I use that on my leather stuff too.
it's great stuff if you use it right. I mean, you got to let it set up. You know, a couple of light coats on each piece, and then once you put those two pieces together, it's there. It's not going anywhere.
Little tacky.
Yep.
Then
Yeah, that's
forever.
usually the biggest problem because that's a lot of stuff is that way. You know, when you prep it or whatever, and a lot of guys just smear it on and they wonder why it doesn't stay, or by the time it does start tacking up, it's shifted and then it's a real mess.
Yeah. The other thing you got to pay attention to is the weather. You know, if there's a lot of humidity or it's too cold or too hot, I mean, the glue is going to react differently. You know.
Yep.
You just have to adjust to it.
Hey, not to interrupt, but Lewis, is there any way you can send that link to Paul Lyons? He's trying to get. It keeps kicking him out for some reason.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
Got
He
him.
was saying if you could resend that link to him.
All right. Hi, Arco and Chad. Welcome.
Hello. And I know all you guys except for Gil. Hello, Gil.
Hey, how are you?
I've seen you before, all over the internet and whatever, you know.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you, man.
He's no joke, right, Arco?
Oh man, no, yeah. I didn't even realize you had an Instagram. I didn't even think about it. I need to follow you on there, so I'll definitely do that tonight. So
Yeah. We have 2 pages. We have the one's Gillen Interiors. That's where all the upholstery happens, and then the other one is G City Auto Studio. That's where we do our full builds. So we kind of keep them 2 separate pages.
thank you.
And the reason for that is, I would say, most of our clients are builders, so we like to just keep the on the interior side, we keep that separate, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's basically, you know, I mean, most the bigger clients don't really mind that we build cars because we're very selective on the clients that we have. It's not like we're out there competing against them on the same projects, you know.
Right.
Arco is also a builder, Outlaw Edge, incredible metal fabricator.
Nice.
Thank you.
I say when I grow up, I'm going to be just like him.
I'm not going to say nothing about paintwork right now.
Hey, don't talk. Hey, I'm learning. He's my tech support when it comes to paint, right?
I've never heard that one though. When you called me the other night, I don't even want to spill the beans. I'm gonna let you tell the story. So,
all right. So, I've been having problems with air pressure. I'm like, man, I'm watching videos of guys. You know, their stream is coming out like a foot wide, and mine's coming out like 2 inches. I'm like, man. So I call Arco. I'm like, man, something's going on, man. And he's like, oh, turn the pressure down, do this, blah blah blah. So I got the primer on the bus. And it went okay, but it took me forever because I only had like this much of spray coming out. So I was like, well, maybe it's my filters. So I went and bought 2 new filters for the guns. So I put the one on and I go to start shooting and nothing. I have no air at all. I'm like, oh, what is going on? Something's in there. So I take the filter off, and I've noticed these little orange plugs in both sides. And I'm like, huh, I wonder if those things come out. And apparently they do. So now I have airflow.
Nice.
And my other gun, I was getting airflow out, so it only had one of those plugs in, but it was halfway in and out. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
So I called my good buddy Arco to let him know what's going on. And you see how he dogs me out. He just puts himself out there.
And on the phone, I was like, "Oh, it's all right, man. It's it happens." And in the
Just
background,
me.
pissing myself laughing.
Well, on the package, it don't tell you to take that out. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking it's part of the piece. So I screw it on and try to go to work.
That's about as good as the batteries that have the little covers on them, red and black.
Yeah.
And people put the battery cables on, and they wonder why the car doesn't start. And then they hook jumper cables up to it, and the car starts, but then it doesn't run, and they tow it in, and you're like, seriously? I mean, where's the cameras? Because they put the cables around the covers. So.
Well, the other one, Brian, is on the Easy Red lights. They put a little stopper, and it's hard to see. It's not obvious. So, they were saying that they get a lot of returns because of that, because people can't turn the light on. It's only because that little piece of cellophane is there.
Yeah.
Hey, I've seen some crazy stuff though. Owning different shops in the past and whatever. I had a heavy equipment shop in California. And I get this call. It was like 2:00 in the morning or so. I don't remember. So it was not only an emergency call for a forklift that needed to be worked on, but it was a after hours call. So this guy's paying stupid money, right? Like before I even show up, I'm getting like $1,300 from this guy before I even walk through that door. And I get there and I just shook my head. I was like, "You gotta be kidding me!" Because the whole way there, he's on the phone telling me, "Yeah, it keeps every time we pull the mat back on the forklift." We pull the controls, it sprays bright orange fluid all over the place. And he says, but when it's sitting there, it won't do it. Well, what happened is he was drinking an orange soda and it fell out of the cup holder and it fell down between the forklift and the mast and the trunnion bearing. It was smashing in between that. So when he was driving, it was shaking up the soda. And then he'd pull that lever and it would just spray bright orange fluid all over the place.
Wow.
And I pulled that soda out. And I just smiled, looked at him, and he's like, "You got to be kidding me." And he's like, "Do I have to pay still?" Easiest call ever, man. It was the easiest money I ever made in my life. It was sweet. That guy was pissed. He was absolutely. He was like, and this is that was the owner of the company, so that was even worse.
Yeah.
All his employees are right there. I was just like, man.
I tell you, man, you overlook stuff. I mean, you're just so into what you're doing.
Yeah.
Little things like that will get you.
Oh, I've seen some doozies on cars coming into our shop before, like stuff that was like, wow. Perfect example. We did this beautiful show car, and we had to take it to have the transmission worked on because it was a specialty deal with the transmission or whatever. So Heidi drove that thing all the way to Grand Rapids and all the way back. And when we got that car back to the shop, we started doing the safety check, putting it up in the air and looking at stuff or whatever. The car was mocked up, put together, and they never put lock nuts on anything. They never had cotter pins in any of the castle bolts. Everything was loose. It was just by hand. Nothing was even tight on the whole car. And she was saying that there was this banging noise when she was coming down Highway 6. And she was hauling ass, And she had Chase in the car. And one of the, I think it was the ball joint or whatever, the castle nut was gone. And it was just like, it was ready to come off. It would have killed her.
Wow.
And that was, so now, like when we have to go take a car somewhere or whatever, I'm like, no, safety check first, man, before it goes anywhere, if it's a customer's car.
Yeah, that's crazy, right?
Yeah, I've seen some just stupid stuff on cars that people do, especially like Chad.
How you doing, Chad?
Hey, good. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me.
I'm Lewis, and these are the fellas.
Yeah.
I know the guy in the red shirt. He's kind of a jerk.
So, Chad, tell us a little bit about yourself. Do you have a shop? What do you do?
Bit about myself?
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying to like there. Okay, there we go. Well, my daughter and I pretend to know stuff about cars that we work on. Right now we've got 3 Model A's. One that doesn't need anything, and that's the one that we go mess around with. And then there's one that the coupe doesn't want to behave itself ever.
Right.
So it's if it's not the brakes, it's the overfueling, or it's the fire blowing out of the headers, or a myriad of other things. And then there's the one where the Roadster we're building, and that one we're doing kind of like the Race a Gentleman style car. It's the 4-banger. It's basically sitting on the stock Model A chassis, mechanical brakes and all that. And then today, I picked up another one. No, I don't really have a plan for this Model A. But I mean, I've kind of come up with a few different ideas, but see what I actually do, what my wallet says I can do.
Right. That's the key. I wish I could have. I would love to have one, but I'm too big. I won't fit in one.
You just got to pretend you're smaller.
Yep. Yep.
Because I'm
Identify as a small guy.
Yeah, I'm not a small dude. I fit in there. Like with the Roadster, they moved the steering column like further in because they had built a speedster out of it first, and so I just go through the passenger door because the steering wheel is like right in the center of the door, and I can't wheel myself thin that much. So
Hot Rod Innovations swing away kit.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'm hoping to use everything that's there because I don't know what kind of can of worms is going to get, as we get further into it. With its 40 horsepower monster of a motor, who knows what could happen there.
Anything, right?
Got 50 foot-pounds of torque, so I don't really blow your hair back.
Scary
So
stuff.
you got Mr. Paul.
Peyton and I are
He's
just
getting
turned
thrown out.
14.
We might be past the technical difficulties. Apparently the Wi-Fi in the garage just isn't working enough. I kept getting kicked out and dropped off. So,
Well, glad you made it.
I came up. Well, you get to see the background of my kitchen tonight instead of the background of the garage.
Okay. Where's the
Hey,
eggs you're
but he's
making?
got a badass shirt on.
I don't know who this guy is. He handed me a shirt one day and patted me on my back and walked away. I haven't seen him since.
Probably when he gave you a big sloppy kiss. Oh. Hey, but Peyton is Chad's daughter, and she has the little hot rod shop that they started, and it's actually it's pretty badass channel. If you guys go check it out, check out Honest Peyton Speed Shop on YouTube. It's really good, and they're hilarious.
So I talked to you, right, Chad?
Yeah, we talked. We did some texting.
Yeah. Did he ever get a hold of you?
No.
All right. I'm gonna hit him up again this weekend.
Okay, appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so my daughter's 14. She said we should get a project car, and I said okay. And we brought home this Model A coupe, and well, she found out how much of a headache a project car can be.
Yeah.
Now that we're into one that's basically, we started with a running and driving frame, but now it's all we got to do the wiring. We've got to route that differently, and we've got to make sure that the engine that I've never worked on before works properly. I'm not sure if I can find plugs around here, because I'm sure those are garbage. But the car actually runs, and
What state are you in?
What's that?
What state?
I'm just about an hour and a half south of Arco in Minnesota.
Sorry.
For my
Bratton's is probably, they're not with like an hour's drive for you like they were for me, but Bratton's Model A parts is going to be your best friend. Forget all the others, forget what everyone else says, because Bratton is real Model A stuff.
Okay. I had found Mike's affordable A's, and as far as like metal parts, it seemed like they were pretty affordable because I've got my wheel wells are just hammered garbage, and there's holes in them, and there's big big dents all over the thing. And
when it comes to Model A stuff,
Yep.
and I'm not trying to sound like a Model A expert at all. Please don't take it as but this is what No Class said. But when it comes to the Model A stuff, there's a lot out there. There truly is a large selection of replacement parts that are affordable.
Mm-hmm.
The words I'm going to use, please understand why I'm saying them.
Okay.
You get what you pay for. Good is not cheap, and cheap is not good.
Always.
Yep.
Stay in the middle shelf area.
Okay.
When it comes to, well, later on, shoot me some pictures of the substructure of the body. All what they call the subframe of the body.
That's actually that's solid. It's the sheet metal on top. It's dented and rusted, and it's just beat to
It's
sitting
perfect.
in the barn.
Send me some pictures of where the body attaches to the subframe.
Okay.
Because that's where the rusted areas are, isn't it?
Definitely on the passenger side. The driver's side is actually in really decent shape, but the passenger side from behind the door, basically all the way down
Yes.
to the back. Yep.
Yes. And it's a coupe, you say?
No, that's the Roadster. The coupe's actually in decent shape.
Okay. On the Roadster, the section is it a sports Roadster or is it a Roadster?
It's an actual Roadster.
It's an actual Roadster, and it's a 30, 31, 28, 29.
28, 29.
The area under the rear seat where the substructure is above the rear frame, that if it's not all tied together the way it needs to be, it just flexes too much.
Mm-hmm.
All that structure in there needs to be proper. And to the best of my knowledge, I'm sure I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But to the best of my knowledge, Brookville was the only one that was reproducing that sectioned area.
Okay.
I hope there are others out there making it.
Yeah.
But it's hard to find decent steel bodies anymore, too, that are quality.
Yeah, and that's why I picked up this other one today. Exactly not too bad.
Fiberglass will be your friend.
No.
I've had fiberglass. I had a fiberglass A and I've had a fiberglass T. I'll tell you what, they went down the road just as good as the other one. So
Yes.
it was more fun.
I've had fiberglass A's. I've had fiberglass T's. I've had a lot of fun with multiple T buckets. But there's something about a steel car.
Yep,
Yeah.
and
Getting
all
hard
of
with
them
this junk.
are steel.
Yeah, it's getting really hard. We were talking about this last week, how the cash for clunkers and all that stuff, man. It took a lot of stuff off the road.
Yeah, when I lived in California years and years ago, this is when they started that crap. I remember looking around my town and there was old cars all over the place, and within a month they were all gone. It was nuts. And they shut down junkyards and they pulled people's yards right out of their yards. They were taking 10, 15, 20 cars at a time,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And a lot of stuff got real rare real fast,
Yeah. So, Gil, got a question for you.
Sure.
Not a question, but I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. My dashboard, I got the old bus dashboard. Well, I'm going to make it look like a car. I'm going to do an iPad in the middle console. I'm going to do cup holders, the full-blown auto look. What do you think?
You got plenty of real estate there to lay some stuff out there,
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'm going to do fiberglass yet or wood. I don't know.
My advice I always give people is it's paper and cardboard is cheaper than metal and fiberglass and wood. So plan everything out with paper and cardboard.
Yeah.
Lay it out. You can lay some tape out, sketch it out on there. the cardboard's good. You can mock up the console and just kind of get a feel for it before you go committing to one design or another. Just take the time and lay it out and see if it's the right feel for you.
Yeah. So I'm gonna do a cup holders on my wife's door. And maybe I'm gonna put a flip out ottoman because she had to put her feet up on my windshield and we can't have that, so I got to make her ottoman.
So going back to that on the wood, what type? I mean, is that like? Are you just? Is it? Was that like? I want to say tar and chip, but is that just like chip wood that you're, when you build something out of, or are you actually using a pine or a mahogany, or I mean, are you using a wood? Or balsa wood type thing when you're making a frame out like that?
So when we're doing a seat, we're gonna go out and get the finished plywood. Nice, good piece of plywood. It's worth it. I mean, if anybody's gone to like a Home Depot or Lowe's and you try to get decent junk, unless you're paying $80 a sheet, it's just what it is right now, especially in New York. That's what I just went and got a sheet of 3/4 finished plywood, and it was $89 a sheet.
Now here's the difference. If you get the cheap stuff, when they stack the layers of wood on, they have gaps like where the knots of the tree. So sometimes you'll be drilling in some fasteners and you'll hit one of those spots and it breaks all up. So that's why if you're going to do something like that, use a better wood because it'll hold up longer. Matter of fact.
And then something like that, you would do the foam over the top of it and then the leather, whatever, or the fiberglass over that?
Yeah, so like with the seats, we do the plywood. So we get rid of all the springs, use the frame structure to attach the wood to. Lay down the plywood, and I was saying this earlier, we cut out sections where you're going to actually sit, and we use elastic webbing, and we'll make a basket weave there. So that way there's some spring to it, there's some give to it. You're not just sitting on a piece of plywood.
So here's an example.
Yeah.
See those cracks in there?
Yeah.
That will mess up your whole day real fast.
Yeah.
And excuse the spray foam on this piece, but see, look at that big crack. The whole piece gone.
Yeah.
Now I'm gonna show you a better. I'm gonna turn around on my windowsill. I use a better piece of plywood. See it right there?
Right. Yeah, that's finished ply. Yeah. Good stuff.
Yep. Makes a difference. A couple bucks.
So what are you using for the webbing in the seat that you're referring to?
Yeah, so it's a 3-stripe. So you'll see like a black 2-inch webbing with 3 red stripes on it. And it's just it's elastic, but it's not like a flimsy elastic. It's a heavy duty elastic. They use a lot in the furniture industry. So you just do a tight weave on it. So a bunch of basically a basket weave in that cut out area where you're sitting down. So you make a square, you cut out a square in the plywood, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to weave the elastic. If you sit on a piece of wood, I mean, eventually you're going to feel it in your back. As you're driving, that vibration is going to go right through you.
Right.
So webbing gives you almost like a spring feel, but it's not collapsing like normally, like the springs would.
Now, how are you fastening the mesh?
So the webbing's fastened with staples. You go 9/16 staples into 3/4 inch plywood. You fold over the edges. It's not going anywhere.
Nice. Learn something
And
new.
is that a tight weave? Is
very tight weave? Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. No space in between. It's just tight together. Yep.
Just don't do what I did to my Harley seat when I was younger. I'm building a custom Harley seat, getting it all nice. I flipped it over on the bench. I'm drilling holes in it to put the rivets in it. And when I was done, I flipped it over. It looked like Swiss cheese. It had like the styrofoam stuff or whatever hanging out of each hole. I was like, so I had to recover it again. And then at least the holes were there for the rivets this time. So it wasn't so bad.
So
the other thing with the holes, when you building that couch, you were saying, and the plywood's there, and you start building a couch. What you got to do is you got to put some holes in on the base there.
Yeah, so don't get
air.
the moisture. Yep.
Because if I remember we did a restaurant, first time we did that, and the first time you sat down, it made some weird noises, because the air was coming out through the vinyl.
I also have to do that on the bed too, because it gets moisture under there and it'll mold up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So with seat bases, you want to get the good plywood. When building any other structure, we side more towards like the PVC plastic and ABS plastic, because it's going to hold up against moisture. You don't want to make door panels out of any kind of MDF or wood or anything like that. So use the ABS base, 1/8-inch base plastic, and then you can go anywhere from 1/4 to 1/2-inch PVC plastic, because that stuff you can use in a router. You can get the shapes you want. You can stack it,
sand it. Yep.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. You could glue it together, super glue it together, and stack it the way you're talking about on.
Oh, when that stuff glues together, it'll break in another part. It won't break in the part you glued.
What about the weight though? Is it a lot heavier than the like using plywood, or is it about the same?
Oh, the PVC plastic is super light.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna use the MDF, they also sell. It's called MDF Ultralight, which is very. It's about half the weight of a normal piece of MDF wood.
Now that you said that, Gil, I think I'm gonna put the mesh in my couch.
You should, yeah.
Huh.
I want to figure out more on this mesh. So, if I'm getting you right, basically I can make. You're using plywood. Me being me, I'd have to use steel. Steel framing, but cut a hole out of it so that my body would more or less be sitting inside of a hole of the steel framing. You weave a basket weave, pot holder type scenario, and sit in it.
Yeah. So
you have your foam on top of that.
Yeah, your foam will be on top of that. So basically, if you do that on metal, you would just rivet the webbing on. And then before you put the foam down, you'll put a layer of burlap there.
Oh.
So that kind of glues right to the webbing. It keeps another layer thick, because you don't want foam just against the webbing, because
it'll rub saw it.
It'll rub, and then it'll start to shred almost, So you want that in between.
I hope you're listening to all this stuff, Lewis, because you're the next one that's going to be doing my damn interior in Rogue. So
I got it.
Well, that's kind of the direction I was going with this, Arco. Is I was going to be hitting Lewis Lee up, going, I just came off this road trip with my wife, and there's talk about another build off. There's talk about another tour. I got a little bit of time to put something together, but damn, I want seats that will actually fit me and her.
Yeah. Well, here's another thing.
You have a lot of work at you.
Yeah, right. So you can also build a seat for you and her, like your butt, foam. Do the foam to fit you.
Exactly. That's what I want. I want one seat to fit me and one seat to fit my passenger, whoever that is. After our last trip, I don't know, Sherry will go with me again.
Tell her you got a new seat.
I like it at the car show. My last car show that Paul was at, he shows up and he's like, well, I was in the neighborhood. And I was like, isn't it like a hell of a long ways to Maryland where you were at? He's in Texas now, but this is when he was in Maryland. And he's like, oh, yeah, I was only like 33 hours. I'm like, oh, that's all. Just hop in the car and go over there,
Yeah, Paul don't mess around when it's time to hit the street.
Hell no. You'll be talking to him and he'll be like, I'm in Texas today. And then the next morning you'll be talking. He's like, yeah, I'm in New York. And the next morning he's in Boston. You're like, what the hell? He's just all over the place.
Well, it's real easy to figure it out. If I'm in Texas, and then you see that I'm in New York, and then you see I'm in Boston, there's only one thing on my mind, and that's a lobster dinner in Maine.
I was just going to say that. Yep.
And then he'll be at work Monday morning, 7 o'clock in the morning,
With his coffee. Oh, no, it's Coke.
Coca-Cola.
Yeah, Coca-Cola, yeah.
But back to I'm very interested in the webbing. I mean, that's like I said, the platform and the platform, having the platform with the wood like I said, I can't seem to. I mean, I understand that, but it's hard to picture that. But I'm hoping that, like I said, when your video or how-to comes out, that's I think that's fairly interesting. I don't know how well after all of us try this, you'll probably get a big UPS box and say, "Hey, can you fix this for us?" But at least we give it a shot first. I don't know.
Listen, we're always a phone call away, you know.
That webbing is the same stuff like in the camp chairs, right? The older camp chairs, like they were aluminum with the webbing that was like tangled and weaved through there, or no?
No, this is, you'll see it. Like if you ever take apart a couch, you'll see the webbing in there. You know, you'll see a lot of it was big in the furniture industry, you know.
It's a little softer than that, Arco.
Yeah.
That stuff on that chair will cut you up. It'll cut the seat up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this stuff is it's elastic base, you know, it's got some give to it. You know, that's why you do
bug land on my glasses? Sorry.
All right, so who's the supplier? How is it sold? Is it not allowed to be sold in the state of California because it causes reproductive harm?
That's everything, Paul.
Any upholstery supplier like can give it. Plus, you can just go right on Amazon. You can get a 40-foot roll for like $15. You know.
All right, so a 40-foot roll, that'll do 2 chairs, 1 chair. I need 2 rolls for a chair.
40-foot roll will give you more than enough for 2 chairs.
Okay.
And where do you? Are you in? You're not in California, are you, Gil?
No, we're in New York. Yeah.
New York. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that's right.
We're in the second California. Yeah. We're in the East Coast, California.
Yeah, I forgot you're by Terry. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
You're muted, Terry. You're muted.
Terry, you're muted.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Nah, Gil's about 35 minutes away. I was up in his shop a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
New shop, nice. He's got some pretty toys in there.
Oh yeah.
Man, Lewis and Terry are always hanging around with all the famous people.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you're talking about. Next
So,
time I come to New York, though, I'm going to come to your shop, man. I really want to come there and steal ideas.
Absolutely. We'll put you to work, man.
I'm not scared to lay a stitch.
Well, on the job training with you.
Yeah.
he's got the spot, man. Lewis, you're gonna lose your mind. You're gonna see the thread room.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. We have 240 colors.
Wow.
Wow.
On a roll.
Like right here, Gil. Where's it at? Right here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's like Baskin Robbins, like cubed.
Yeah.
Those who don't know what Baskin Robbins is, they're like 33 flavors. I don't know if you guys have Baskin Robbins out in your area.
So what's your favorite sewing machine, Gil?
My favorite sewing machine is going to be the we have a lot of NC carpet machines. So and they make it's very similar to the Juki style machine. So we use like a 1508. It's a heavy duty machine. That's a single needle. We have a double needle. We have a long arm machine. We have a skiver. I mean, so we have a lot of equipment. If you go to the shop, everybody has their own machine. We also have a backup machine, and then the double needle is such a time saver, you know. But it's all NC carpet machines.
I have a Juki single needle, and then I have a cowboy arm. I really love that one. That's the heavy duty joint.
A cowboy what?
Cowboy sewing machine. That's the name of the company, Cowboy. And the guy that imports them is right here in my town. So I got customer service pretty easy. And I think I can't remember what other sewing machine. It's the same machine, but different names. You know what I mean? I forget what the other one is.
All I know is Singer. That's it.
Yeah, I got one of those too.
My mother's old school one.
Well, there was also American Sewing Machine Company out of Baltimore, Maryland, for I don't know, like a 15 or 20 year period prior to World War II.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like our NC guys. They're based right in Newark, New Jersey. So local guys, you know.
Yeah.
Right down the
Easy
street.
to get the parts and stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. So the way we do it is once a month we have a sewing machine mechanic come in and do maintenance on everything.
Set 'em up. Yeah.
Yep. So once a month he comes in, goes over all the machines, sharpens all the scissors, and
Oh man, you're living the life,
it's just preventive maintenance, man. We don't want that machine goes down. That's your money right there.
man. Listen, my Juki, it gets out of whack, man, and I'm telling you, it gives me the blues.
There's so many times where I'll come in here and I'll walk through the door and Heidi will be cussing at one of the machines right here and she's tearing it apart, cleaning it stuff, and she starts cussing. I go the other way. I'm like, nope.
Get out of Dodge, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
go get lunch.
it'll jump out of time in just a little bit, and it'll throw your stitches off, and you can't figure it out. You're like, man, it was just running so smooth, and then all of a sudden, and it's always like when you're at the end of a good run, you're like, oh man, it's looking good. Then it jumps on you. You're like, oh.
So do you throw that away, like that panel or whatever that you're sewing? Do you have to throw it away, or can you fix it? Or what do you do?
It depends. You can go back and line up in one of the holes and start over.
Yeah.
And just pull it through. Yep.
Yeah. So it all depends, what you're working on. But see, sometimes when I'm doing purses, if I'm hitting a corner or something and it gets off, it might dip into the bag, and then that way, and when you do that, you're done. You just got to change the whole panel.
Oh, so frustrating.
Yeah. I mean, they're finicky, man. If you don't give them a kiss before you start, you might have problems.
I mean, the key is you gotta always adjust, right? So you gotta adjust your tension based on the thickness of the material and the thickness of the thread. So you just gotta. It's always good to just take a test piece and run it through.
Yeah. I'm learning after so many mistakes.
There's so many times where I'll walk in here and Heidi's holding her tweezers and she's just standing there for like 20 minutes. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, just standing just like this. And I'm like, what the hell, And she's like, well, if I stand here with my tweezers, it's ready for me to like put the thread back through when it breaks, but it won't break because I'm standing here with the tweezers. As soon as I go to walk away, it'll snap.
Preventive maintenance, man.
Yeah, she just stands there for like hours at a time, waiting for stuff to get stitched out,
She's tricking it.
Typically, when the thread breaks, it's just as simple as there's a burr on the needle. That's it.
Yeah.
You just change the needle. Yep. Especially if you're sewing like a lot of thick leather, it'll beat that needle up. You gotta just keep changing them out,
Yeah, I figured that out. Yeah. I'll tell you, man, it's an art. You really gotta know the whole machine. I mean, you gotta really make love to it.
I give the people that can operate a sewing machine respect. I have done some things with some basic home sewing machines. All that interior in the Model A, I did on my wife's sewing machine. I'm sure I did some damage to it at some point. But the material, one is a feel because all the materials that I was using were so different from each other. I'm sewing old used shop rags to T-shirts, but it's an art to really make the stitching look proper. Mine doesn't, but it's up in there.
Yeah, it really is. It's fun though. It's real therapeutic.
Yeah, that's what David, our powder coater, he says the same thing. He does a lot of like stitching and whatever, and he says the same thing. He's a military vet, and he says it like keeps him calm down and real therapeutic or whatever, which I can understand that.
I understand that thoroughly because to me, if I can just take a piece of metal and run it through the punishing hammer for 10 minutes, to me, it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. When I get a hammer in my hand, I get my music going, and I got my earplugs in, and I'm hammering, building a panel. I'm like, everybody go away, Or like Heidi knows when I'm getting ready to paint a car because I'll walk into the paint booth, and as soon as the heavy metal goes on, like the music's just blaring, I'm like, I just go away, like spray gun starts, and I'm like, that's it, I'm done. And I won't walk out of there sometime till 2-3 o'clock in the morning, when it's all done, or until I'm like passed out from all the fumes in there.
Well, here's the thing about stuff like that helps you. A lot of people never find that thing that helps them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why anytime I talk to any younger people or like my kids, I tell them try everything you think you might want to try. because one of those things is going to be the thing that will set your mind apart from other stuff.
And don't be scared of it.
Yep.
Sad part is most people go through life not knowing it, not knowing what it is.
Never find it. Yep.
Never find it.
That's why every time in the morning when Terry calls me, I hang up on him.
Yeah, exactly. Because I know Arco's getting ready to turn on some flash dance and start jumping around his shop.
It sucks.
Tyler,
This is the reason I call and not FaceTime.
Say something, Tyler. Come on.
I don't have anything to contribute. I'm waiting on Lewis for like 2.5 years to do the interior for my G8.
I know. I was looking at. I seen your comment. I don't know if you guys seen the comment.
Oh wait,
Hold on.
Yeah, before you brought me in, Arco was talking about you doing interior for Rogue, and I said, "Get in line, man."
Yeah. I did move his stuff closer to the bench.
Oh,
See, and that every time I'm over there, I'm like, "Oh, it's like 6 inches closer to the sewing machine. That's good."
I'm trying to build my house, man.
Well, which is it?
hell
You
of a
trying
job,
to build
man.
your house, or you trying to build your mobile home to retire in?
Yeah, that's my house.
Okay.
Oh, we got a lot of people in the chat. Let's go through the chat a little bit. We got Miss Heidi.
No class in Arco, kind of bring it to the table.
Hey, we can't talk about Heidi now because she's in the chat room. Hi, Heidi.
Hi, Heidi.
Hi.
Yeah, she's chatting it up.
Who's this Gloria?
Hi, Gloria.
Hi, Gloria.
I don't know, but Heidi left a mean message on there.
Oh no, it's not my mom. My mom's not white. Well, my mom's name is Gloria.
Wow.
Gloria's on there asking about vaginal rejuvenation. I don't know. I think she's on the wrong channel.
I need another Coca-Cola. Be right back, fellas.
Look at the comment that Heidi left her though.
I see that.
Oh, but she left it too late. That was right after Joey left.
I know. I think he got pissed off and left anyways. So he kept texting me or whatever, and I'm like, "What the hell? I'm trying to watch the show here."
Nice wholesome show, and it's talking about, I don't know, what would you call it, Tyler?
Vaginal rejuvenation.
Because sometimes you just don't feel fresh.
All right, let's get back to the
If you
interior.
use the right webbing, you'll be okay. Don't worry.
All right,
so
I got a serious question here, Lewis. On your buck, you're going orange and white, and I was telling you the other day, I love that little stripe you put on it. But you're
That's
doing
cool.
orange and white on the outside. What are you going to do as far as the inside? I see you got some wood, which I really like that too, the wood and everything you're doing. But as far as like your seats and stuff, what color are you going with, and your dash and all that?
So I think the front part is going to be either black with a little camel inserts. I think.
Yeah.
I might do the dash and the camel, keep it light for the sun. When the sun comes in, I'm gonna try to keep it light.
Camel or camo?
Camel, like the horse, big horse camel. What do you call them? Camel color.
One
As
hump
long
or
as there's
two.
no toe with that.
Yeah, no camel toe.
You hear
No
Paul
camel
saying
toe.
one hump or two?
2 humps.
2 hump camels. Got it.
So I think that's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm thinking. But from there back is going to be all a house, but the front part is going to be all automotive. I want to keep a little automotive flair to the vehicle. You know what I mean?
Well, also, I mean, if somebody steps in there to check it out, I mean, they'll see that automotive tricked out stuff that you do too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to do a big iPad in the dash. Surveillance cameras. I'm going to have my surveillance monitor in the dash.
Oh, that's for when I come over to visit. Oh,
huh?
That's for when I come over to visit, right?
Yeah, we got to keep an eye on you.
Yeah.
No, that's for when you break out the gun turret.
That's when you break out the howitzer that's going to be on the roof.
Yeah.
Remote operated.
I lost all my guns in a boating accident, guys. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna do up front. Now the back, or like the kitchen, I'm gonna do. My wife wants a grayish blue cabinets from the cabinets down it'll be grayish blue, and then from the countertop up it'll be bright white. Everything will be bright white, and then we'll have touches of wood throughout. Like the centerpiece. I don't know if you can see it. You see how the lights go down the center? So I'm gonna have.
Wow, that's the bus. You did. Whoa! Hold on a second.
Yeah, that thing's looking good, man.
We just found out that Terry hasn't been keeping up on your Instagram.
Yep.
No, I was seeing it, but I'm just amazed that how great it's coming along, because I saw it when he was putting in that piece right there, that wall unit, and it's Lewis. I'm impressed.
So what
Very
I'm gonna do? Thank you. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put 4x8 real nice plywood down the middle, and so those lights will be in that plywood. And then on the sides coming down is going to be a different medium. I'm not sure what I'm using yet, but the center part will be lowered a little bit, and then it'll have backlighting under, behind it. So that's what we're doing there.
Hey guys, time for me to bail.
Okay, Jim, thanks for hanging out with us.
Where you going, Jim? Come
Jim,
on, this is party time.
Good night, Jim.
I know, sorry.
That's all right. We'll forgive
It's
you
amazing
this
that Jim's here past 10, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, 8 minutes. Oh my goodness. Oh.
All right, Jim,
It's only 9.
I was gonna say it's only 9 o'clock here.
2, 1. Thank guys.
all right, later.
Got pretty much.
Yeah, so the countertops, I'm doing live edge river countertop on my desk where I'm at now. So that'll be. Have you seen those wood slabs, like tree slabs?
Yeah,
Like
Great.
a
Like
butcher block, but a tree slab.
Yeah, tree slab. Yep.
Live edge.
Yeah, I'm gonna do.
Yeah, there's a lot of that being sold around here.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a river down the middle of it, but I'm gonna use the paint from the outside to mix in it, so it'll be pearl
Okay.
and mixed in that.
That'll look cool.
Yep. So that's what I'm trying. We'll see when I get done with the sawing.
A lot of work on.
Yeah. It's a lot of work, but when it's done, man, it lasts. Because I did my countertops in my house, but I did those with epoxy.
Yeah.
And, it's a lot of work, man. But that epoxy, it holds up.
And I know, like on that epoxy, if it gets all beat up and crappy looking, you could always sand it and rebuff it, can't you?
Yep.
Sweet.
And you can put heat on it. You can cut on it. I mean, it's no joke, man. And I made it look like marble. I took Bondo on the edges, and I did Bondo all the way around the edges, and it looks like marble. And then I have the swirls going through it with different paint.
I've been checking out different guys doing like tables and whatever out of that epoxy and putting lights in them and everything. It's pretty great.
Yeah.
One guy did a desk with like an engine and stuff in it, and it was all tricked out with lights, and then it had a phone chargers, and I mean, he had everything in that thing, and it was like a hot rod looking desk. It was trick.
Yeah, man, it's pretty fun. It takes a little work, but when you're done, man, it's pretty nice.
You'll have to have that bus at the car show next year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, that was leading up to where I was going with you. You were talking about doing a maiden voyage, I thought, down to Florida in the coming months.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the first week of February, I believe.
Okay. Well, you understand that once you hit the road, there isn't going to be much turning back. It's going to become more and more frequent. So August will be up to Michigan to see Arco.
Minnesota.
Yep.
Yeah, same thing.
I'm gonna show you pictures of my countertops as soon as I find them. I got way too many pictures.
Yeah, so when he's on his way back up, he's gonna stop off in New York, and we're gonna hang out at Gill's shop.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna hit the circuit, man. And what's nice is with doing this for so many years, I have friends everywhere in every state.
Yeah.
So when I break down, I can call. Hey, man, I'm broke. Come get me.
The only problem with that is, Lewis, you never know where I'll be.
Yeah, you might be riding by. Yep.
I could end up being in Ohio at the same time you're in Texas.
All right, here we go. Let's see. Gives you a good shot of my live edge. All right, see the edge,
Mm-hmm.
and that's Bondo.
Wow. Oh, that's a trip, huh?
Oh, that's cool.
How did you form it into that shape?
Well, what I used is press board, or is that what it's called? MDF
Uh-huh.
plywood. So I used that, and it's 3/4 inch, and then on the sides, I put another 1/2 inch down under it to make it, like 1.5 inches.
Uh-huh.
Then I took Bondo and I put Bondo all the way around on the edge, and then I went through and sanded it, and after it dried,
it by hand. Okay.
Yeah, did it by hand and then sanded it with grinders and stuff. And then you put the epoxy on, and the first layer of epoxy you put in your pearls or whatever you want to mix into it. So my base is like a gray pearl, and then I mixed up the epoxy with some black and white pearl in the epoxy, and then you dump it on, you hit it with a blowtorch, and it'll move around, and it'll start swirling like real. It's pretty neat, man.
And that's
then,
how
I had another person tell me about the a handheld propane torch.
Yep, take the bubbles out.
He said that you can actually draw and manipulate, and how you'll start having fun and get lost in how it acts with the heat.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah, so it looks like pearl, man. When you come in my house, you think it's pearl. I mean, not pearl. What do you call that stuff?
Marble. Right?
Marble. Yes. Yep. It's pretty slick, and it's warm. You know how your countertops are always cold?
Yeah.
That epoxy it's always nice, warm. You know what I mean? It's nice.
Huh.
Yep. That's why I have epoxy countertops in my kitchen at my house.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what I'm doing here in the bus. I'm not sure. I think I'm going to do around the sink and stuff. I think I'm going to do a little bit of pearl with the color from the bus in it. Just real light. Flakes, just little splatters. You know what I mean?
That orange looks good in your bus, man.
But when you go to do that, Lewis, make sure you take the orange cap out first, okay?
Yep, I sure will. Dude, I'm so mad at myself, man. It's like I'm out here. I almost killed myself trying to primer this thing because I was doing 2 inches at a time.
And that's what tripped me out the other day when you're telling me, it took you so long or whatever. And then you remember me saying you should be able to just turn that pressure up, just bob that thing like in an hour and a half, be done with the whole bus.
Man, I was out here all day.
Man.
Sweating. When I got done, my mom was saying, "Oh, you're good." My body was like, "Man, you dummy." I could barely take my clothes off.
This getting old thing sucks, doesn't it?
Man.
Yeah.
You ain't even said nothing. So now I'm waiting on the weather. So as soon as the weather breaks, man, I'm running down the side, like you said, Arco.
Sweet. You got crappy weather there right now too, raining and whatever?
Yeah, it's on and off. It's always crappy here in Ohio. I mean, It rains, it's cold, it's hot, it's windy. You know what I mean? Somebody kicked me out of their garage where I could have painted it, but
yeah.
Everything in your garage would have been orange, bro.
That's okay. I'm still finding rivets. Yeah, I moved my toolbox the other day and there was like 6 rivets under it.
Oh man.
How you know they were mine?
They were yellow.
Oh man. Were they school bus yellow by chance?
Yeah, surprisingly.
Weird.
So Gil, all of us here are connected in some kind of way. Yeah. We have fun. We have a lot of fun when we meet up places.
Yeah, we got a couple more projects to do.
The never-ending list of projects. I got like 4 or 5 of my own projects. Got a couple of race cars to build.
I got about 35 right now, so
yeah,
it's just overwhelming right now. It's crazy.
But we're doing what we love, though. That's the key.
Yeah. It gets.
I mean, just imagine if we were doing it for somebody else that we didn't like it. You know what I mean?
Yep. Say something, Dad. Come on.
You taking a nap?
I don't really have anything to add about interior because I don't know how to do that. Other than I have some boat seats that I might put in a car. And then I haven't been working on any decking lately. But I did. I'm trying to figure out when Arco's going to come get this frame out of my yard. He's only been talking to me about it since I brought it home. And
What do you call your junkyard again?
oh, Minnesota smallest junkyard. It's even smaller now because I sold half of it.
He has this frame jig and a car body and a frame. That's Minnesota's smallest junkyard. Yeah.
There's 2 frames in there.
Oh, the Model T.
Got the Model T frame, and then now with this other Model A I bought, I'm going to shove that in there.
Oh man, your junkyard's growing.
Yeah, I sold half of it off. I had to put something else in there.
You need like 356 Chevy cars in there, bro.
Yeah.
I wonder who has that.
Yeah. Arco 2.0.
My junkyard is only, I think, 15 feet by 24 feet. So
that's all right. You got to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I could fit
starter kit.
I could fit 2 fat trap eyes in there.
Yeah.
I've only got like 16 or 17 cars in my junkyard.
Well,
No,
Rookie
you got way more, Tyler. We
Heck
counted. Yeah,
Hey,
we
so
counted.
like 40.
Speaking of buses, are you staying in yours now, Tyler?
No, mine's completely stripped inside. The floor's all ripped out, and I'm pretty much ready for spray insulation, spray in foam, and then at that point I can start building. So hopefully by the end of winter I'll be living in it.
That'll be sweet.
Nice.
Is it still inside your shop though?
No, I moved it out for the summer.
Yeah.
I had someone who shall not be named
Invade.
dropped a project off here, and I keep getting freight deliveries for that project, and I needed the space inside to keep everything. So
Pallets.
That's weird.
Big pallets.
Sounds like something Terry would do.
it does, doesn't it?
It does sound like something I would do, but I have too much respect to do something like that. Oh.
All right,
you mean
fellas,
you mean
my
like the
battery's
truck
getting
in my
ready to
truck?
crap out, so I'm gonna be calling it a night.
All right, Paul.
Okay, Paul.
Love
Hey,
you, brother.
Hey, glad you made it home safe, and we appreciate you. sending us
Thank you
beautiful
for all the
pictures.
support throughout the last couple of weeks. It's been a hell of a roller coaster. I'm glad you all got to see some of the videos.
Nice.
Continue to look and go watch those YouTube channels and whatnot. These guys did some incredible footage. They had drones. They had cameras set up along the highway ahead of us before we ever got to it.
Nice.
There's talk about a documentary. There's talks about a build-off for 2024. There's talks about another cruise in 2025. The special interest in this is beyond anything I could have imagined. I'm so glad that I got to be part of it.
And the best part to me was when I got to see you signing Jeremy's car, Ian Russell's old car.
Oh my God. That is epic. I got to figure out how to take that photo. That is going to go on one of my business cards or something, because that is an epic photo of all time.
Did you see that, Lewis?
No.
Yeah, he autographed. What's Jeremy's last name? What is it?
Jeremy Jones, Space Junkie 1.5.
Oh yeah, I watched that build on the TV.
Space Junkie 1.5 has the red mark.
I'm gonna go take a look at it.
It's sweet.
No class marked Space Junkie. It was very rude. It was very disrespectful.
It was very awesome.
I've apologized to Jeremy, but yes, it was badass and awesome.
All right, Paul.
It's just wrong to touch or mark on another man's car, and especially a car as nice and as well done as Space Junkie. But there's a joke going around about no class in the red pen, and I just happened to be there. I walked to the car, and I wrote down class in the red pen.
He got me in my shop. Yeah.
They got me on the bus.
Stay true to myself.
Got the bus too.
Yeah.
Hey, I was honored when you left, and it like it must have been 3 or 4 days went by, and I'm in the shop working, and I had my vise, and I took the aluminum soft jaws off the vise, and underneath of it I'm like looking at it, I'm like, check this out, and it says not Arcos, and then it says no class.
Wait. I still got. Oh, where is it? I had something up front too.
I've been having to mark my hammers with not Arcos on there too. I'm afraid he's going to take one. But I don't know if you guys saw on our channel, we actually got a suggestion from one of Arco's buddies to write his name on a hammer, and say we found it at a used tool shop, brand new, so we had to buy it. So it pops out every now and then. It's got Arco written on it. We'll use it for a pointer. Will you just so it can? It's because Arco has what? How many hammers do you have? Like you probably have 40 within your reach.
You know, but they even went as far as putting the yellow tape around the handle too, like I do.
We did it.
I see the comments I get on the videos because of the yellow tape, and people freak over that. They're like, "Why do all those body hammers have yellow tape?" And I'm like, because when you have other shops and those hammers go to your other shops when you're working, well, I want to make sure when I leave those other shops, they come back to my hammer rack, because if they have yellow tape, they belong in my rack.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nothing wrong with that.
I'm coming out there. I'm removing all the tape.
I'm just going to stop traveling with my hammers and start using yours.
I would be honored, Paul. You know, Terry, you touch my hammers, I'll burn every 56.
You know,
Arco like that.
See, Arco's stingy. You know, he was here and he had a nice welding shirt, and I tried to get it, man. Heidi kept an eye on me, so I couldn't get it. I was going to steal it. He goes, but it got my name on it. I don't care if it got Arco on it. I just feel as long as it fit.
I got to send you one of those, man. I keep forgetting to.
I don't know how many people actually noticed, but Elmo did the whole trip with us.
Oh, did he?
Yes. Yeah, I don't think he got any coverage, though. He was hanging at the back window the entire trip.
So, guys, if you didn't hear, Elmo was chilling here in Youngstown, Ohio, and he got kidnapped. And he's been traveling the country now. Elmo's everywhere.
Oh, he's been all over the place. Yeah, I got the funniest ass pictures of him. My favorite though is when we left. I want to say it was when we left your place, and we were halfway home or something. We were tired or whatever, and we stopped like to take a piss or whatever on the side of the road and grab some snacks or something. There was like a little bar right next to the place, and I was laughing, and Heidi's like, "What are you doing?" And I took Elmo and put like my soda cans by him and stuff, laid him in front of this bar and took some pictures like he was a bum out there playing, you know. We got some hella good pictures, man.
Yeah, we have a good time, man.
Joey hated me for that. and I got yelled at for stabbing Elmo at Tyler's shop. You remember that? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Heidi's like, stop, put your damn knife away. I'm like, what?
You ain't right.
All right. I got to go to bed before I just start laughing so much that there's going to be tears coming out of my eyes.
All right, Paul. See you next week.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
So, Gil, what kind of carpet do you think I should use on the floor up here? Because I can't put plywood on it because it'll hit my pedals. I only got like a little space under there, so I'm thinking.
Hey, put some small holes in the floor and drop some like stainless cups in there and put some AstroTurf or whatever you call that stuff on there. And have a little golf go through your bus, man. Come on.
Mini
I
golf.
think the wife's gonna go for that.
Yeah, she'd break her ankle in one of the holes or something, you know.
Yep. Have me in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, you can just use any basic automotive stuff there, right? You're talking about in the driving area there?
Yeah.
They have just
something with a good foam.
Yeah, you get something. Yeah, definitely to get a good foam base down, and then put the carpet, give you a little cushion there. You know. You just
Hey,
want,
did you insulate the floor?
Yeah, well, not in the driver's compartment because I don't have enough room. If I insulate it,
Yeah.
and it'd mess with my pedals and all that stuff. So, but from the seats back all through the whole bus is 2-inch board foam, and then
Yeah.
3/4 inch plywood on top of that.
All right.
And
You think those diesel heaters are going to keep up as far
Oh
as?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're no joke. I actually put one in my leather shop to see how it would work. Test it out, and man, it burned me out of there.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, they're no joke.
And that's the ones that go like don't. They
Yep.
make that weird noise. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the fuel pump. But I'm
Yeah.
putting the fuel pump under the bus, so I won't hear it inside here.
You'll think I'm underneath there knocking or something, right?
Yeah. Yeah, there's some tricks to it. You wrap it up with insulation, all kind of stuff to get rid of that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm tapping right into my fuel tank, so I'm gonna put the pump right next to the fuel tank.
And they don't use hardly any diesel, do they?
No. Nope. So when I go fill up the bus, then I'm filling up my heat too.
Hey Ray, how big of motors do you think those things got on them?
On what, the heaters?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's we were talking about that when Lewis bought them, and I was curious about them. I don't think they're that big. I think they're just very efficient.
Yeah, they're small.
Yeah,
it's not really a motor. It's like a burn,
it's like almost like a blower.
Yeah, it's a blower, but it burns. It's like it's a element in there that lights on fire. It's like,
what is it, like a little mini jet motor or something?
Yeah.
Yeah. A little turbine motor.
Yeah, something like that. Yep.
Oh. That's a trip.
Yeah, they started using them in trucks, semis, because they came out with the laws where you can't idle. So
Right.
They came out with these.
And it's better than propane because the propane heaters, they put a lot of extra moisture in the air.
Right. Yep.
The only thing you got to watch out for is spider webs. Spiders get up in there, and because we have them in the tool truck. I don't have one of mine, but that's the newer ones in the tool truck, and the guys have a lot of problems with them because over the summertime, you get some spiders in there, and you get the spider webs going across, and that really screws up the heating element and the injector or the thing to burn.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll have all kinds of issues with them.
And I can see that happening because we watch a lot of those like camping videos where guys are like outfitting their pickups or their campers, and they're using those little diesel heaters. And I've seen a lot of them where they're having problems with them, where they have to take them out, clean them up, do a bunch of stuff.
It's just one of those things that, unfortunately, it's kind of a pain in the ass.
Well, one of the things also is when you turn them off, you have to turn it all the way up so it heats up real hot, and then turn it off and let it cool down because it builds up carbon in there. So a lot of people have problems with the carbon buildup, but it's certain ways you got to start it and shut it off.
So that's a lot of guys have that issue or have that problem. That's one of those things that, of course, if you do the maintenance or go through and have it checked and clean and blown out, that's one thing. But the day that you need the heat is the day that you're tearing it all apart to try to clean it out because you don't have any.
Well, I'm also going to have the mini splits on both sides with the heat. So if I get down and dirty,
and you do have to remember to turn it off because we do have guys that will leave it on. And, if they get a big snow or whatever, and they wonder why the snow's melting off the top of the tool truck, it's because they've left the heat on in there. And,
man,
that's scary.
Yeah. I imagine those mini splits are going to help a lot, though, Lewis, where you're going to have, so you'll have actually 4 heaters in there then.
Yeah. Yep. Actually 5 because I'm going to put a wood burner in as well.
Oh, that's going to be sweet. Yep.
Yeah. So with the wood burner and the 2 mini splits and the 2 diesel heaters, then I'll have the heater from the bus as well, up front. So if
So
I,
you might even be able to come to you might be able to come to Minnesota then.
in the winter, right?
It'll be just warm enough.
Believe me, I ain't coming till the snow go away.
Then you should come now before it gets here.
Yeah. Well, we might be coming in the next week or two. Pick up some Terry stuff.
You're not putting an LS in that CUDA, are you?
Why would you ask such a thing?
I think every time I see a video or a post or a picture, you've got an LS right here.
It follows them around like a balloon.
That would be terrible. That would break my heart to put a CUDA, Hemi, an LS in that CUDA.
Okay, good.
Right.
Because I think I would probably cry a lot.
Well, you may get your chance if if you really feel that strongly about it. We're going to make an offer where people can, if they want to donate a Hemi.
I'll tell you what. I'll donate a 201 cubic inch Ford motor.
Well, that's
Worse than the LS.
It's 40 horsepower.
Get off the table. What are you doing?
I'll throw in the transmission.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, the temperature dropping here quick. I might have to kick on the diesel heater in a minute.
The only experience I ever had with diesel heater was in the service. They'd stick a 5-gallon jerry can outside and have a leaky hose running into this furnace, like stove kind of thing, and sleeping in the diesel smoke. That was fun.
54,
Yeah, Ray?
huh?
Ray and Terry and Gil, I'm sending it over to you.
Oh, baby, look at that.
It's on its way.
Wow.
Keep that up near you.
Now it's coming.
I'm
It's
looking
like
at
yesterday morning or a couple days ago, I guess it was pretty chilly in the morning. I came out, there was frost on everything. So
wow.
Yeah, we were going to 36 here.
yeah.
We're
Yeah,
still
I'm trying to get
72
this
degrees
bus.
outside right now.
Yeah,
How-
I think we're gonna
72?
be in the 50s by the morning. Yeah, it'll be in the 50s.
I told you,
We're
I'm
down
sending it over.
61.
Let's see.
Send
I
that
love
crap
you
to
guys
Mark
a
and
lot,
he'll
so
probably
I'm
be in
sending
shorts.
you all our weather.
What does the morning say for good old Long Island?
Yeah, look at that. I'll tell you right now, it's 56 in Middletown.
Yeah.
56. Yeah, we're 61.
2
So,
a.m.
yeah, like-
62.
Oh, we're in the 40s tonight.
You know, by morning, by sunup, it'll be 59.
Yeah, it'll be 40s here tonight, and then
And then the
next couple
60s,
days it's getting hot.
and we'll go right up into the 70s.
We had 75.
Yeah, we got 70s on the weekend, so I'm gonna try to finish this bus painting it because I'm losing my window of
Yeah.
opportunity.
You know any painters?
What are you trying to say? I know a couple, but they won't come visit.
You better watch what you say, brother.
Yeah, right.
You know what happened last time?
Yeah, came and cut my roof off.
Unbelievable.
I ain't scared.
I hear you. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody. Believe me.
Have Saul's all will travel.
Cordless even.
Yeah. I got paint guns too, but I took those little orange things out of the paint guns. So
Shut up. Hey, here's the problem though. My one gun, it was shooting, but it wasn't doing it well.
I can't believe it was even getting any pressure by that,
I think, the one gun only had it in the top, and I think it was halfway out, so it was getting a little air past it. But when I put that new one on, I was getting nothing. I'm like, What is going on? And that's what made me start looking. And I was like, man, them orange things look suspicious. And that's what it was.
I was waiting for you to just turn the pressure up so far when it just blew that orange thing right out,
I couldn't believe it, man. I went in the house, told the wife, I was like, man, I'm out here shooting nothing.
Shooting blanks.
Yeah. Listen, when I tell you my stream was 3 inches, I'm shooting 3 inches at a time.
Oh man.
The whole bus.
I know that took forever.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I was out here 10 hours. I'm trying to tell you. And I was like, what the heck is the article talking about running down the bus? I can't run. I'm only shooting 2 inches.
What color orange is that? That's a really nice, pretty orange.
It's Summit Racing's Sunkiss Orange. It's their brand. It has pearl in it. I'll tell you what, it changes total color when the sun hits it. It's a totally different color. Yep.
Got that flip flop.
John, show car builder, drove to our car show all the way from Washington, and he won best paint. And man, that paint job on his car was insane. Like he was telling me he had like that little Daddy Rock. You buy like one of those, you know, it's like a pint or whatever it is. You buy one of those, and you put like a little spoonful in like a gallon of paint or a gallon of clear to, you know, put that metallic or whatever in the paint job. And he says he put like 5 or 6 of those in the whole paint job. It was nuts.
Wow.
I mean, it was like just crazy color changing, all wild looking, you know, and every once in a while it would be just a silver car sitting there. People would be walking by, and all of a sudden the sun would move a little bit, and then it just go like wham, and then there'd be a crowd, you know.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Especially the little kids go like, huh?
To do that with silver is hard.
Yeah,
to make silver pop. You know.
You know what's really hard? Really, really hard is to get a Coverman 66 shirt.
What you laughing at?
He knows. He knows.
They're going on. We're making a new batch, a new shipment's coming out. Everyone's getting one.
I know somebody that does them.
We're waiting for. Yeah.
I'm
just waiting
for signs.
You know, before the end of the year, everyone will have a Coverman 66 new design shirt.
You know what's going to happen is Terry's going to have Heidi make some shirts, and I'm going to have her print like 900 of them for me. I'm going to have Coverman 66 underwear, socks, everything. I'll be like the Coverman 66 spokesperson.
Bedspread, you know, car cover,
banana hammock.
You know, what's it called? Placemat. You know. Go for it. Go for it. Well, gentlemen, I gotta head off because I gotta put this little boy to bed.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I gotta get out of here too. I gotta get up early tomorrow. So,
hey, Gil, thanks for coming to hang out with us, man. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Hey, for real, you can come every week if you want to. We come. We do this all the time. Just hang out.
It's past my bedtime, though. You know.
Yeah.
I'm up at 4 every morning. 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Me too.
You got to think how much nonsense can one man stand.
Yeah, I'm getting off too, Gil. I had to get up before myself.
Yeah, all right, guys. I'll talk to you soon.
All right,
take it easy.
Have a good night. I'm gonna crash. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Take care, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Later.
All right, bro. All right, Mr. Arco.
Too, so you know, thanks for the invite.
Wait, say again, Chad?
He said I can hop off too. Thanks for the invite.
Oh yeah, anytime, bro. You can come on anytime. Just come.
Yeah,
Matter of fact, I'll put you in our little group thing on. Are you on Facebook?
Yep. You'd have to. Well, you can look up either Honest Peyton because that's in there, or you can just or you can look up Chad Schroth. There's only one.
I'm going to forget.
While I'm on here too, Chad, if you could help me, we're gonna start building up. We want to get Lewis Lee's channel to 1,000 subs.
1,000. Okay.
Let's start doing some collaboration videos and stuff. And then this live, we're doing a live. If you get a chance, Lewis Lee, what is the lady's name, Chad, for Sunday?
The Diesel Queen.
Oh, I know her.
We're doing Peyton's going to do a podcast with her on Sunday at 3.
Okay.
Let
me put it on my phone.
She, it was kind of interesting because she actually just commented as like, "I'm sold. Subscribe. You're a badass." And I was like, I don't even know who this person is. So I clicked on it, and so I just sent her an email and just said, "Hey, thanks for the nice comment. My daughter really appreciate it. You know, if you want to give me your address, we'll send you a sticker. You know, just to say thank you." And her response was, "Do you think she'd want to do my podcast? I'd love to have her on her podcast, on my podcast." And then she, said, "Hey, here's my address." So we sent the stickers off. And so Yeah, Sunday at 3. But it's not on the Diesel Queens page channel. It's on like the Diesel Laptops is where it actually gets done.
Okay.
And
Hey, Lewis, I'll try to send you Chad's number. That way you can keep a hold.
I think I have it. Okay.
And I think I still have, I have his too.
Yeah. Yeah. Just send me a text, man, because I'll forget.
Yeah.
And I'll reach out again to who she wants to talk to.
Yeah. And one more. We've got one more live coming up. It's going to be a joint live with Bondo Billy. He's going to be teaching Peyton how to tape graphics on one of the hot rods.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
Nice.
And Arco was going to come down and decipher words for Peyton because she may not understand car words. She's only 14 and teenage girl. So
I'll tell you what though. Since how long has she been doing her channel now?
It's February 15th.
So like that's February 15th of this year, not like 2015. But she's it's crazy how much she's changed and grown up just doing this, with this channel. Like she's matured a lot, man.
Yeah.
So I think it's honestly been really good for her,
Oh yeah, I think so too. And she's able to, I'll tell you what, some of the boys, she talks about how at school they don't seem to know anything. And I was like, well, that doesn't change as they get older.
No.
Again, we know stuff. And then, she goes, I don't think that any of them would know how to, change the transmission filter and service the transmission and change oil and change and put on a tie rod end and some of these other things. And I said, well, how many of them got to drive their first car was a 30 Model A Roadster? She's like, none. I'm like, well, there you go.
There you go.
It was a flathead too, so it was real old school and flames and all that. But yeah.
Sweet. Night, Heidi.
Oh, good night.
Heidi. Heidi's bouncing.
Yeah. I gotta go.
Bouncing too.
I gotta go put my uniform together for drill. So.
All right.
Thanks, you guys, everybody.
Thank you.
Brian, Ray, Lewis, thank you so much, brother. Appreciate it. Thanks, Chad.
Good seeing you, Arco.
Good seeing you guys too, man. You guys have a good night.
All right, I'm going too. Peace.
Play nice.
Okay, Brian. So should we read each other our emails or something? I don't know.
And he left us live too.
I saw that happening fast. I was like, oh. Then there were two.
Yeah. So
I
thought it was interesting. I wanted to show you when the license plate, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool design. That's I don't know.
But look, the paper that you wrapped it in.
No, I know. No, that's how they gave them to me.
Really? I was I was trying to figure out how it transposed on to that. And I was like, holy crap, the way they put it in wet or what?
Yeah.
But
what they did is they probably did a couple of test prints before they did the actual printing on the metal, just to make sure they had all their graphics straight and dates right. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, but see, when it was on there, this is how it came. So when I opened it up, I was like, holy shit, man, how did he press that thing on the paper? And I was like, the whole time I was like doing this. I felt like I was in high school when the teacher picked out the video, right? A Xerox copy or whatever.
I don't even know where I put mine. He gave me 3 of them. 2 of them were wrapped. So I think he probably already knew he had one for me and Chris, and then he threw in a 3rd for you, which was nice. And so one of them, I took the unwrapped one and I sent the other 2 out.
So I guess this was one of the things he was talking about. This was a 3rd place trophy or whatever, because it says 3rd place on it.
Right. I get, yeah.
And but it's beautiful. I mean, it's like I said, it's
it really is. I see now. I tell you, all your best plans. Like I said, throughout the last months, we've really been light on guests. People haven't been around, or they haven't been available, or I, just forgot to scout people out or whatever. And then all of a sudden, it's like it rains, it pours, boom, 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 everything at once. I mean, they've been coming in since like 2008, so those guys are always in this time of the year. They're actually, it was usually Elliot and the guy and Dennis, who wasn't there today, but so they're regulars. But and then to have like the worst catastrophic failure ever.
Yeah.
Ever. It was like, I sent you the video. I sent you the picture of the waveform, right?
Yeah.
Now that's, when I download the show, I download the audio file, and that's solid blue straight across. And what I do is I actually expand it so I can see the little gaps. And then I go in and I do some editing. If I got to take stuff out, I actually got to edit the front and the back of the show to make it exactly where I want it. But sometimes I may have to take something out of the middle if something was weird. And then I'll take my clips out for Mother's Day. But to see those huge gaps was like, holy shit, I've never seen that before.
Yeah. And actually, the funny part is, I know you said that you downloaded or you uploaded it on. I haven't seen it yet. Usually it pops up on my feed.
Now, what usually pops up on the YouTube, I guess, right?
On Instagram, it usually pops up on there, and like I said, it hasn't yet. Or even on Facebook, both ways it will
I don't
show.
post it there though. I mean, I put the show. I mean, we had always posted the show on our own website. We haven't done that since January because right now the website's kind of in limbo. Chris has to take it back over and redo it, and he hasn't had the time to do it yet. So he sends it up to a place in Pennsylvania called Performance Motorsports Network. They put it up, but Sean puts it up through the college on Spreaker and iHeartRadio. And so I've been sending people that link if they want to see it. What you must be getting the link for is when I post it to YouTube. And then you'll probably and then I would do like a post on what we talked about on the show, and I'll include the link again to YouTube.
Yeah.
So it is on YouTube now because I had to send that video to Chris because I don't do video editing. I got to learn. I told him I feel like such a schmuck. I have done it a little bit in the past. The problem is I don't do it all the time. So whatever program I use and I kind of stumble my way through to figure out, by the time I do it again next, the program usually now it's not free, or they want you to pay for it, or there got to be an update that you got to pay for, or
right.
You got to use another program. And I'm like, I'm not young enough to pick it up that fast anymore. So
yeah.
But he does. Chris does do video. He always has.
Yeah.
So I sent him the video link, and he sent it back to me, I think, on Tuesday, where he took out the gaps. And I told him, like, I did see, because I saw it on my end first, and I saw how you guys did come back in, but we weren't there yet. That was
right.
only studios. So I told him, leave that in. I said, leave that conversation between you and Brian in. Leave that there, because at least it's content. And then once he did edit it and sent it back to me, I sent it up to YouTube. So I did post that.
Yeah, no, it was funny because, like I told you, I'm not, like you said, really quick with this stuff. So I get myself ready, a half hour beforehand.
Yeah.
And, it was like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes before, whatever. And, I used the phone. I used the website on the phone so I could listen to the radio. I'm listening to the show. I'm listening to Rob go on. And then when he starts talking you guys up, that's when I went ahead and logged on and it went on, and I'm sitting there, and then I realized it was like noon.
Yeah.
And nothing had changed. And I was like, what the hell? And then I said, do I have the wrong link? and I started playing around, and I'm like, great. And then of course it got to be like 5 after, and by that time I wasn't even paying attention to the radio. I mean, I wasn't paying attention on the phone because I was trying to bring it up, and then all of a sudden
You would have heard dead air.
you're right. Well, I guess that's why I wasn't paying attention, because I was so focused on trying to get in.
I'm surprised because Chris was in. I mean, I logged in again when Rob's in the studio. I can't take that other computer over until like 5 to 12.
Yeah.
And sometimes he even pushes me later than that. And as soon as I get that computer fired up, that's the Mac, then I send Chris a text and say, okay, come on in. Then he pops on. So I know I started the show and I'm doing 100 things. So I didn't see you. And I was wondering, where's Brian? I figured, you know what? I'll get to that. As soon as I get things settled and opened up and I make the intros, now I know Chris has my back. He can talk to Elliot, and I'll sit there and I'll send you a text and see, figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
We never got that far. I did all my promo stuff. I played the intro, the Scotty Gosson intro. Then I came in with and it was ironic. This is so weird because the two guys were sitting across from me. And then as that stuff is playing, there's one computer down there on the floor. It's not on the floor. It's like a cabinet. So it's maybe like a 2-inch rise, and there's computers on it. It's open faced. And that's the computer I have to have the camera plugged into for the guests. So, and the cord is on the floor. I had that plugged in. So again, it's 2 minutes to go, and Rob he uses a chair that nobody else can sit in but him. So I shoved his chair out of the way, and the cord for the camera was looped around one of the rollers on the chair. So as I pushed the chair, it pulls the computer off that little riser. Boom. So they're looking at me like, what? I'm like, oh shit. So my fear was that it unplugged the camera, because I would have had to back out and you can't just plug the camera back in and go again. You have to have the camera plugged in before. So I picked the computer up and everything was still plugged in. So I said, okay, good. Nah, no problem. No harm, no foul. I still had the image on the screen. Good enough. I pushed it in. Good. Then again, I'm playing the promo. Now I just start playing the music, the opening music, and which is good because I played Hot Rod Race too. It's a pretty good song by Jimmy Denton, whatever. And the guy, John, he says to me, hey, is there a pot, a potentiometer to control the headphone? I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot that. We used to have guests in so much. That was something that we would just tell them. Yeah, there was right by the jack, there's a pot. So I said, yeah, right around the back of the console, you'll see where the headphone's plugged in, there's a pot. So I'm waiting to hit the end of the song and come up live. He reaches around and touches the pot, and I hear boom, everything, literally like a boom, and everything went dead. And he comes around and he's like, what did I do? I'm like, what did you do? He was like, you touched the pot. I was like, dude, that shouldn't have done anything. I said, it's just a potentiometer for the headphones. But now everything is dead. Now Rob and Kim are right in the next room through a glass window, and I can't get their attention because now they're hearing the signal on the radio, which has an 8-second delay. When the delay stops, they both looked up at the same time, and I'm looking at them and I'm like, get in here. So Rob stayed where he was. Kim comes in and she's like, what happened? I'm like, Kim, everything just went out. She goes, well, put on music. I'm like, I can't. The CD players are dead. They're dead. The power shut off. I said, I was playing the CD when it went out. The computer went out. The board, there's descriptors. There's little spaces on each slot of the board that tells you what it's for, like mic A, mic B, mic C. It can be CD1, CD2, CD3, the descriptors. All of that was all just dashed lines. She's like, holy shit, the board is out. I'm like, yeah, everything is out. And I don't know why, So I just stepped back, and she's running around like a chicken without a head. Chris is looking at me. He knew something went wrong because it was like the China syndrome, It's like the reactor hit the core, and so she's going crazy. She can't figure it out. I can't help her because I'm not an engineer in that place. I don't know how that, what would have happened. I said, it sounded like it came from the back of the console. And it did. A power strip, had gone out. Now, the caveat to this was the college all week had been having power issues and internet problems, throughout the whole campus. So we still don't know if it was, connected to that or not.
So, but so then all of a sudden I was like, I had gotten to a password where I never had that before, but luckily in one of your emails, you had a password there.
Yeah.
So I went back because before, like I said, all the other times, the couple times that I've been on, I had never put the password in. I just hit the link.
Right.
I picked the link and picked what phone number, because it has a page with numbers, whatever.
Right.
And I clicked that, and next thing you know, I'm in the studio. Well, this came back up to like a home page, and it said password, and I'm like, man, I don't understand. And I remembered in one of the emails, you had a show number or show address, and then there was a password.
Right.
And so I type in the password, and then there's Chris. And
Right.
Chris goes, hey, you're here. And I'm like, I'm here, but where's everybody else? And he goes, I don't know what's going on. The screen's black. And every once in a while, when me and Chris were talking, the screen would come up, and you guys were just running around in the studio.
Right.
I mean,
that computer stayed live. What you might want to do is take that email and print it and stick it on the wall, or write the information down on a piece of paper and stick it to the wall. This way you have it, for future use.
Yeah. Well, that's like I said, I have it. Where did it go? Because it was on one of my little sticky. Because I joked around with Chris, because I had said something, because he goes, oh, you got on with no problem. And I said, oh, well, I said I was on for like 15 minutes before the show. And usually what will happen is it'll come on and I'll have a picture, it'll show me in the studio. And right. I usually just blank it out. I mean, I turn the camera off so that I'm not,
Yeah, I've seen that. Well, I'll see your name and I know you're there, but you're just not on the camera.
And all of a sudden it was like, okay, we're coming up, and I turned the camera on and there was like nothing there. And it's like, 2 minutes till, then it's 1 minute, then it's noon. And I'm like, well, where the hell am I? And so it was weird. I mean, crazy stuff. It's never a dull moment. I tell you that
That's never happened. So Kim had no choice but to call Sean, because she is the being paid to run that station. That's her job.
Uh-huh.
So she can't fix something. Her next line of resources, she's got to call Sean. So she did, and he was on the phone with her, telling her, try this, try that. No, I did this. No, I did that. Okay, try this, try that. Then finally he said, okay, look, I'm coming down, because he lives a few towns away. Then he showed up, and that's when Kim said, you know what? She tells me, we're going to move to the other studio. She checked. The other air studio wasn't affected. So not only was it a weird power surge thing, it only affected that main studio.
Yeah.
So there's another studio at the end of the hall where guys, they do use it for live stuff. Obviously you can, but they typically use it to record a show, for future use. And the way the guests are set up, the guests are actually in a next room, and there's a big glass window. So you're separated from your guests. You got to look out the window. It's really weird. But so she goes, we're going down there. I'm like, all right. So I go in there. It's kind of a mirror setup, so I have everything I need. And I have the computer, so I could see on that computer you guys. I was able to see you and Chris, because it was mirroring that, my meeting. I said to Kim, we have to come back up. I said, I don't know if we're going to be able to see each other, if they're going to see us, And then luckily, it worked where, we got what we got. So, but then later that day, I asked Sean. I said to him, "Hey, listen," I said, "I know you were busy. I send him. I mean, he can get the show off the computers, the station's log. They call it the logger. But I asked him, I said, hey, listen, I said, I don't know if the logger was screwed up, if that power went out. I said, do you want me to send you an edited copy of the show? That you could, it was only 20 minutes of show.
Yeah.
So he said, yeah, if you could. He says, I had to come back. He goes, me and Kim moved all sorts of equipment around again. It happened again later that day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, shit. So I don't know if it's happened since. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what I did. I mean, I gotta remember to print that out because I don't know what I did. Yeah. I had the password because there was a point. There was another time when me and Chris both blinked out.
Right.
And we came back and I had to log back on real quick and we both popped back in and he goes, what did you do? And I said, I don't know. All of a sudden it just went out and we came back. So It was kind of weird.
It was very weird. Very weird. I was like, I looked at it like, you got to be kidding me. It's like, this was like, I mean, on one hand, we've had these guys on every year, like I said, since about 08. We talk about this show. So it's like not like it's new groundbreaking stuff. We're going to talk about this show. I mean, the only difference was one year they changed location, whatever. Yeah. So, but I feel like, now I shortchanged them. They didn't get the full hour, because he likes the, he's they like the ball. When he's with Dennis, they kind of play off each other a little better. But this other guy, John, he was a pretty interesting guy.
I was kind of hoping when I showed him when I had the Thunderbird tail light, maybe I'd get something going, but it never really,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Elliot is, he was never really the kind of guy to work on his car like heavily.
Uh-huh.
I mean, he'll do light stuff and he'll polish it and that. He's not a mechanic. Dennis was a bit of a hot rodder when he was back in school, back in high school and all. I mean, he's older now, but he has like some drag racing stories and hot rodding stories. He probably would have picked up more on that. But
yeah, I had also pulled out, and I didn't get them. They're actually over there, but I had pulled out the sequential mechanisms for the tail. Like I said, if I know if I have an idea where we're going,
right.
I have enough stuff, kind of.
Yeah.
But like I said, they didn't seem to go, oh wow, a tail light. So it's not like every day has a tail light thing. Yeah, I mean it's not every
too. It was big.
Yeah, I mean, that type of thing. Gil did ask here in the question. He said, Ray, I'm looking at a Mazda 3. Is that a good car? Anything I should watch out for on a Mazda 3?
Keith, I just had I just sold my Mazda when I got my FJ. I bought it new in 06. I had it until 2022. I put 103,000 miles on it. And when I showed the guy my list of repairs and maintenance, he said, is that it? And I was like, yeah, that's it. And he goes, wow. I said, yeah, because I only put like maybe 3 sets of front brakes, 1 set of rear brakes on it, a battery every 5 years religiously because batteries just do that now. Struts, I think I did struts twice, and I did them the second time wrongly thinking I had a bad upper bearing because of that clunking noise I had when in essence it ended up being an upper motor mount. No engine work. I did 1 year. I did do the PCV valve because they said there was a technical service bulletin. They said the hose to the PCV valve over time it would soften and leak.
Yeah, it comes apart. I don't think those things really have much of an issue. Motor wise. I mean, it's not like a Toyota Camry, like my daughter's vintage. She's got a 2013, I guess.
Yeah.
That 2010 to 2015. When they get around 150,000 miles, the rings stick in them and they all start burning oil. It's kind of a common thing. I don't think there's too much.
No, my daughter's RAV4 with the 4-cylinder. that engine has a problem with sticky rings.
Yeah.
And I've been fighting. I've been like when it was here, I would right before a couple hundred, maybe 100 miles or 200 miles before an oil change, I would put Marvel in the oil.
Yeah.
I knew I'd be changing it. And I actually was getting it. It was a little better. But the problem with that PCV was those were the years when Mazda and Ford were partnering. And so they used the Ford theory, which I don't know why, because it was stupid. The PCV valve was mounted on the block, and you had to take the intake manifold off to get at it. There was the only way you could change it. I was like, what a stupid idea that was. For a $5 valve and a $3 hose, you had to take an intake manifold off.
Right.
But no engine issues at all. No mechanical issues. I had a 5-speed in mine. Transmission was flawless. What else did I do? I put shocks in the rear once. And it was just light maintenance, oil changes, change the hoses one year.
I don't know when. I mean, the only other thing I could think of with the Mazda that you might have to be careful, and that's getting into the newer, towards the end, the newer version, newer generation, when they had that automatic. The one that's in the Ford with the clutch, they have all that. They have a lot of problems.
That was probably the same one from the Focus.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The one from the Focus.
Yeah, and mine was a hatch. Mine was loaded. I bought the car loaded. I had every option in it, except I kept the 5-speed. And when I was calling to check on the car, the guy at Mazda was like, "You ordered that winning blue hatch?" Like, yeah. He goes, man. He goes, that's exactly how I would have ordered it. You put all the options on it, but left it as a 5-speed. I was like, yeah, I couldn't see that car as an automatic.
Yeah.
And it rode and drove great. I took it up to Syracuse a few times, and we took it all over the place. It was a phenomenal little car. It was a great little driver. Nothing bad to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like I said, I think the only. I think when you get, I don't know exactly what vintage, or when you get into the newer stuff, you might have to watch out for that automatic, because they share a lot of that Ford, and they had that problem,
right?
Because those Focuses and Fiestas, and I don't know what the other one is, the other small Ford. I mean, those things are just stacked up in the dealership waiting for transmission piece. They had it's got like this clutch thing inside. It's like I want to say it's got like a clutch. I guess it acts like a torque converter or something. I can't remember the name.
I've heard about the problem, and I know somebody that has had or his mom had one of the cars that had a problem. So yeah, I've heard of that. It's well documented.
Yeah.
So, hey, do you no, you don't get the Haggerty magazines. You don't have Haggerty insurance on anything right now. No. In the new Haggerty magazine, they put this article in here about Matchbox cars.
The Hot Wheels, the Sweet 16, yeah. Uh-huh.
And really what they're talking all about. This month's magazine's theme is patina, and the good and the bad. But they're talking about these cars that were done with the Spectra Flame paint.
Yep.
And they would talk. I have to. I read this in the magazine like the day after I sent you the plate. Otherwise, I would have included it. I'll get this. I'll get this to you.
Yeah, the Spectra Flame. That's what. Those are the cars that we are looking for. Those are the super treasure hunts, and they'll have one car in there, and they'll make. Actually, I found one the other day, and I don't know if I have it here, if it's still in the tool truck. They did a. Here, actually.
Keith, the other Mazda that people love is, instead of the 3, like the 5. It's not the regular 5. It's the big. It's like the little minivanish one, the small SUV 5, the MX5. People, my chiropractor has one, absolutely loves it. I don't know if your son wants something like that, but that's another one that's got wild following.
I don't have the regular car to show you how much of a difference it is, but there is a big difference. Now, this was in the P case of last year, but they did a 32 Ford.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I've seen that car. Yeah.
Okay, and you can see the paint. This is Spectraflame paint.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Now they did the same car, but it has like a light blue. This is actually painted in the Gulf colors, like Gulf.
Right, the Gulf, Gulf oil, right? Yeah,
right.
orange and
Well,
blue.
so it would be a regular baby blue with the gold trim.
Right.
And see this
The roof.
gold looks like an orange with the Spectraflame.
Yeah.
So this right here is they did that. Now the Sweet 16, the first cars that came out were Spectraflame.
Yeah.
That was the big paint back then, or that was they
You
had
know,
a gold and a red and a blue.
they're talking about how the cars were debuted at the 68 International Toy Fair.
Yeah.
They were zinc plated with a translucent lacquer called Spectraflame, along with copious chrome and red circles on the tire sidewalls. And today they fetch big money, but only if they were left untouched.
Yeah.
And how many of us had that mentality when we were 10 years old? Ha ha. There's thus a cottage industry for collectors who want to refurbish their miniature machines. Stores like redlineshop.com offer everything from screws and stickers and wheels to reproduction Spectraflame paint.
Yeah.
So they have painting tutorials on YouTube. So yeah, if you're interested, they do resell that paint now.
Yeah, and then like I said today it's so hard because a lot of people will, because with the printing capabilities, they'll make the backing, and like the holy grail of the first super treasure hunt was 67 Camaro, and it's white, Spectraflame white with stripes. I mean, that car is pulling over $1,000.
Wow.
And now, and of course, it's kind of hard because I know I don't want to speak out not knowing 100%, but it's really, really hard to find out how many they really made. They always say, oh, it's 3% is, like the, that's how many are super treasure hunts or treasure hunts they have a percentage, but you really don't know how many they actually made. And that's why. And now some of these guys are reproducing this stuff, and it's hard. You got to really, really watch it because you'll spend the money for thinking that you have something, and it's
it's funny. I was just watching on YouTube the other night. This comedian, I never saw the guy before. He's about like in his late 50s, early 60s, a regular, just average guy. And like all good comedians, he was just talking about average stuff that happens in your life. And he said, I read a statistic the other day from the government that said that that 42% of the population, was did not fill out the census. And he says, how do they know? And he's right. Like if 42% didn't do it, you wouldn't know they didn't do it.
Right.
So how do you know it's 42%? But it's leave it to the government to come up with a statistic for the amount of people who didn't do something.
Right.
It's like you'd have to know how many people there were all together. And I was explaining this to my wife before. I said that's the purpose of the census, to find out how many people there are.
Right.
So they can guesstimate. I said, but until they get, and even once they get it, there's always people who don't fill it out. It just gives them a better representation on their guess. So to put a percentage out on a guess is like, come on, it could be. So that was just kind of funny.
Well, no, I being a numbers guy, it is funny because somebody will say something and you're like, well, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
And how can you come up saying, like you said, how can they say half the people that don't do it? So that's, you're really,
right.
I don't know, overshooting it, but it's crazy. But yeah, that's the Spectraflame is, And, you know, before they did the super treasure hunts, they had regular treasure hunts, and those were usually Spectre Flame, or they had real rubber wheels type thing. And some of them, like I said, are just actually this is crazy. Let me find it real quick. Mattel, where did this thing go? So last chance modifier. Because it's I'm having a okay. Well, a couple of years ago, they did a '55 Chevrolet, and it was called the Candy Striper.
Okay.
And basically, let me see if I can get a good picture here. This was the car.
Red and white, yeah.
It was
stripes on the roof, right? It's got the peppermint stripes on the roof.
Yep.
Yeah.
So they did like 4,000. This was a club piece. They only did 4,000 of them. This is the holy grail of all 55s. I mean, this thing literally pulls like $1,500.
Wow.
So they did, or they're right now, they have. I'm on the edge because they did, or they're doing, if they get enough backing, they're doing they are doing a 1/18th scale of the Candy Striper.
Nice.
And they have a platform with the flames coming out of the headers. They have the tire smoke. That's a base that sits on.
I like that.
The only problem is they have 3 tiers of that, and it's $250.
Whoa.
Yeah. And if they get to 10,000, they'll make the car. If they get to 13,000, they will include a small Candy Striper with that. And then if they get to 19,000, they'll have it with the flame. They'll have the whole stand.
How nice of them.
Yeah, well, it's crazy, and I can't believe. So they're sitting right now. They have this until October 10th is the last day to order. So there's 25 days to order, and they're only at, as the little chart says here, they're only at 37. Almost 3,800.
37%. That's probably not going to happen.
I don't know. Like I said,
yeah.
So the only thing that really I would love to have the 164th. I mean, I want a Candy Striper.
Yeah.
That's one of my, I'd love to be able to stumble across that. I'm not paying that kind of money for it.
Right.
And I would love, okay, if I order it and they can get to the 13,000 and I can get one, but it's just going to kill the value of the other, because people are going to try to knock it off as the one of 4,000 because they're not numbered. See, that's another problem. These things aren't numbered.
Oh, that's crazy.
Well, on the package it is, but the cars aren't.
Yeah.
So, like I said, if you have, that's why you find people that make these things and they'll be loose on the internet and they want,
Right.
get your, I don't know. I know it's not in the package, but you can get one for $200 or $300, and all they did was take. All they did was take one of a 99-cent car.
Yeah.
Get the Spectra frame paint and stickers and do it and put it in a package, or take it and leave it out and say,
right.
That's one of them. That's
so.
But that was released this week, and man, I've been like, God, this is going to drive me crazy because I love to see how, like I said, I'm just waiting to see how far they go.
Well, there's a good topic for you to bring up on Sunday.
Chris probably.
Well, Chris is a model guy. He's a modeler. He used to model way back, so he likes that kind of stuff.
So
he's not paying money for that kind of stuff these days. But.
Yeah, it's that's absolutely insane. But the detail, I'd love to. Mattel did some back. I don't know. Go back 10, 15 years or whatever. They did some 1/18 scale stuff, and it was good. I mean, it's good quality. I mean, it's good detail. But the price they want is insane. I'm kind of hoping that they're going to get to the point, because a lot of people, that's one of the things everybody's talking about, is that the price is just, out there. Of course, it's, you figure you take $250 times 10,000. That's a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
They're making. I don't know. Maybe you should buy some stock in Mattel, because next quarter might be really good.
So let's see if they sell. That's the thing. Hey, change of gears. You know what I saw this week? I got an email from Harbor Freight.
Oh
a new tool they came out with that is really pretty cool. I bought their the Go Jack. Go Jacks from them, which I haven't used yet, but I have them in the shed. Now they just came out with a dolly, but it's a pinch weld mount. So you raise the car, you drop it on the pinch welds, it clamps on, and you can move the car with or without wheels on it.
I saw that.
That was a pretty damn good idea. And I'm sure other companies must have them already.
Yeah, actually, I tried OTC made one that I tried to order, but that was during the time when Bosch bought them. So everything was really kind of screwed up on the ordering, and I haven't done it. And but on the pinch weld, yes. But I did see that. The only time I ever had any problem, I had bought some car dolly things from Harbor Freight, and it did not like the transition between concrete and asphalt.
Okay, I have the Nomads sitting on those gray ones that are just kind of concave.
Yeah,
they didn't. I moved the car the first time, and I think a couple of the casters got wonky on me. It didn't like being. Yeah, it's on a movable dolly, but it didn't like being moved around too much.
Yeah, I had the gray ones the first time.
Yeah.
And they were fine in the garage. I had no problems in the garage.
Yeah.
But when I tried to get the transition from the garage to the asphalt,
yeah,
dude, it was really weird. So I didn't buy the ones that look like Go Jacks. They were actually, I got them through Macco, and it was like a maybe an inch and a half. It looked like a 2x4, but it was a steel tube, a square box, and it had like these casters that.
Oh yeah, I think I've seen them.
They were, and it was from a body shop company,
Yeah.
And those worked really good. I had no problems, but the problem that I had was you had to have wheels on the car, because the wheels sat in that thing.
Right.
And that's why the OTC one, when I saw where it was on the pinch weld, because once that was the problem that I had, because the one time I had the whole front end off the car, and then I had to move the car, and I had no way of moving it because there was no, I had to, I literally like how the like a shock goes through the center of the coil spring to the control arm.
Right.
I mean, I had to use like a piece of lumber, like a 4x4 that I cut out to make it look like a shock or a spring and a shock to fit in there so I could put the control back on the control,
Right.
so that I could move the car around when I had, then I found myself taking everything apart. And then if I had to move it, that was the problem. But this, now that I have it on the scissor jack, I have a scissor jack and it's sitting on the jack on the lift. I haven't moved it since. Of course, I'm thinking about pushing it back in the garage because I'm running out. Like Lewis said, I'm running out of nice weather, and if I got to pull that clutch out of the Audi, I think I want to do it in the garage.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice.
Because it was funny. I drove the car around the backyard, and the where did they go? The accelerator pedal broke. And what did I do with it? Oh, don't tell me.
Yeah, that was. I realized when I was scrubbing that show that I sent you last week with Ellie, the one from 2010. I actually mentioned my Audi 5000 in there, and Chris went off on it.
Yeah. So, but they have this little bushing.
Yeah.
That on that the arm the cable. I mean the cable goes through this little ass hole here. And then this is on the pedal, the pedal's here and it has an arm, and then this pulls on it.
Right.
And the inside of this blew out.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, damn it. And then I was like, thank gosh, Tom at the Volkswagen Center, he's got a couple 4000s.
Oh,
and when I saw him on Wednesday, he asked me about it. He actually helped me out because he had an extra intake boot. And I put that on because I had a crack in mine. I was sucking air.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, I have a couple of those bushings. And I was like, that's good, because I was like, now how I want to figure out trying to make the accelerator,
right,
especially on something that's 40 years old, and trying to find the little stuff like that's the pain.
I was just watching a guy, how depending on what you watch on YouTube, the metric changes and different videos find you. So I found one. There was one about a guy and his dad. Father has a 65 GTO he bought new. So then another one finds me of this guy. I think he's in upstate New York. Has a 64 Le Mans, and he was putting on an aftermarket wheel with red line tires, and he painted the red lines. Yeah, he was doing it on the cheap. But the wheel, I've never seen a mag wheel like this. I'm like, that is the weirdest looking. It was like a 5-spoke mag, but it was all integrated. It didn't look like a regular 5-spoke. And he told me, and he said the wheels were from I keep forgetting the name, Forthright. The company that the wheels that I just found in my garage, those aluminum slots. The same company. Because now that I'm reading these older magazines, the from the early 60s and 70s, I found an ad for that company. So back then is when they were selling their wheels, and they had a whole line and they were popular.
Yeah,
they had some different designs. So the wheels he has are like absolutely kind of priceless, because where are you going to find them,
Yeah.
But he, as he's going through the car, he says, "Yeah, I'm just looking around underneath. I'm looking at my tranny linkage." And he says, and look at this. And you saw it looked like a 1-inch drywall screw stuck to like the end of the linkage. He says, now, to me, he goes, you'll probably think so too. He goes, that looks to me like it was like stuck on there like magnetically. And I said, yeah, it did look like it was stuck because it was in a weird position. He says, no. The last guy took it and instead of putting a cotter pin through the linkage arm, he tack welded that. He's like, who would do that? He goes, I'm gonna have to change that. And then he was putting the wheels on. So he goes, while I'm here, let me just check my brakes, 4-wheel drums. He pulls off, he's on the left side, the left front. He goes, well, I pulled the cap off. He goes, I think I better check the bearings while I'm here. I'll give him an adjust. And what the guy do? He goes, I guess this guy didn't like investing in cotter pins because he had like a wood screw going through the hole where the cotter pin would be. He's like, who does that? I'm like,
right,
hey,
yeah.
dude, I mean, I've seen them in carburetor linkages and stuff, but never in these applications. Like,
yeah, and you figure, that cotter pin, whatever the rating the steel is, I mean the metal, and that screw doesn't have that load. I mean, it's just
but then you got to say, okay, here's a car that's, almost 50 years old. How long have they been in there? Like, how long has he had the car?
Right.
And, how long have they been in there before there? And actually, how many miles of load-bearing use is on this thing? It's like, that it lasted at all is amazing.
Yeah.
So, and then you got to think, like, what else did this guy do?
Yeah, well, that's when, I mean, that was like the one time up at the car show, the car meet, a guy rolled in and he had one of those, I don't know what year, it was the Ford, how it had the C cutout pickup truck, the panel vans.
Yeah, the C cab, yeah.
The C cabs. Well, you had one of those and it came up and I looked and like part of the suspension for the holding the rear wheel on, I mean the rear end was just hanging there.
Wow.
And I was like, dude, you're missing a bolt. And he's like looking at me like, what are you talking about? And I said, you're the link is the bolt's missing. And he gets out and looks, he goes, oh, that was that noise, something banging around. And, he's coming down, the highway at speed, and I looked over and I looked at the other one and I realized they used stainless steel bolts.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, you got the wrong bolts in this car. And he goes,
Yeah.
well, what do you mean? It's stainless steel. And I said, yeah, the tensile strength is not, that's for show.
Right.
That's not for the strength. And he's like, well, the guy said it would be okay. And I'm like, yeah, for a trailer queen, but I mean, you're driving. And he goes, man, my old lady was driving that. And she drove here today. And I said, unless she's got really good life insurance, dude,
Right.
So, people do, not knowing.
Sure.
That's like,
well, it's stainless steel. It looks better and it costs more. So it must be better.
Right. I get that all the time. Like this is, these bolts here are for body shop clamps.
Oh yeah.
And I can't tell you how many times I go in and I see where they went over and got a grade 5 bolt,
Oh no.
And they're trying to, pull something. And I'm like, dude, you are like on edge.
I got one here somewhere too. I used to be able to see it. Now I don't see it. It's because I moved it.
But yeah, I just it's amazing what you see and what you do. And hell, we've all done it, we've all had, got to get it running or you got to get it moved. It's like the day that I walked into the shop and it was a Ford, and how they blow spark plugs out. The guy previously had wrapped the spark plug with electrical tape, the threads, and threaded it into the block and then bolted the coil on. And it stayed until it finally blew the coil. It busted the valve cover where the bolt was. It finally blew the coil out. But I was like, dude, what would make somebody think about using electrical tape to put threads, to try to hold it?
I've seen some crazy stuff like that. But one of the most ingenious thread repairs I saw was if you had a bolt that the threads got stripped or mangled on, and the female threads were good. An old machinist showed me this, and I actually did it not too long ago. Take some stranded wire and take it apart, and wrap a strand of wire in the thread, and then it'll actually bite into those into the other threads to a degree. I mean, it doesn't always work, but it's like, yeah, or like, guys like wood guys will do that. If the hole is oblong or whatever, and they got to put a dowel in or a peg or a screw, and it's got to be a certain size, but the hole is too big, they'll just like put toothpicks or little scraps of wood in there, and then that'll make the new surface to bite on. I'm like, that's brilliant. That's pretty smart. Yeah.
I've done that.
I had a couple of cases. I was just thinking when I had my Challenger. I remember I pulled up to the auto parts store, and I went to put the car in park. I had a floor shifter, and something felt wrong, and it went to park, but then all of a sudden it just went back and forth real easy. I was like, what the hell just happened? So I get under the car, and it was a low car. It was hard, but I saw the cotter pin that held the linkage onto the arm. It just disintegrated or rusted. So I'm like, oh, I just need a cotter pin. I need something to get me home. And like I had nothing. I had like a lighter, a pen, but I think I took a piece of wire, small gauge wire, and looped it through and just like twist tied it. I said, you know what? You'll get me from parking to drive, and from driving. And it did. Back in the days when we were driving the Nomad full time, when my friend Tom uses an everyday car. This is back in the 70s. I remember there was some girls that we kind of hooked up with a couple towns away, and so we picked up the one girl that he was dating. I was alone, so there's three of us in the car, and so Nomad was always a 4-speed, small block 4-speed. So I was driving the car, and all of a sudden, like the shifter was like there was nothing there, and he was like, "Oh shit, what the hell happened?" So we go under. And I guess he didn't use the regular Hirsch shifter clips. He must have used the cotter pin or something, and they came out. So he says, "Okay, what do we got to do here?" I think they both broke. So he said we could rig it so we could have, did he have a 3-speed? He might have had a 3-speed, yeah. Because I'm thinking we could have had. Well, hang on a second. Reverse was back, right? Trying to think of the pattern, the 3-speed pattern. 3.
It should have been 1, 2, 3, and then reverse.
Reverse is down.
Yeah.
So we could have rigged it to have first and second or third in reverse.
Yeah.
We could only get one arm working. And ended up the girl that was with us, she had a bobby pin. So that was going to be our clip, but we only had one. Like, you only have one, go through your hair some more. And we rigged up, I think I rigged up first and second and drove around all night like that.
Yeah.
So
they had, on my old tool truck, did the same thing. The cable coming down for the gear selector. Same thing. I guess it rusted away or whatever. And I was like, it was the same thing. You go to put it in gear and nothing happened, and I'm like moving the lever all around, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And then I get down, look underneath, and then you see the cable just going up and down, not connected to anything. And I ended up using a paper clip, I'm like going through the paper clip and to get home, so we've all done it. We all have. It's luckily that we all got to watch MacGyver.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing.
We needed to make a nuclear bomb. We could do it with what was laying around the house.
All right. So now I'll tell you something I did today that really pisses me off. In the Mazda that I'm driving, the Protege, it's got a sunroof. And last year, sometime in January, I noticed it's got a molded headliner. And on the passenger side, right in that front corner,
water stain,
it gets wet when it rains. So I said, it must be probably the sunroof. So I remember opening the roof and blowing air through it and snaking it out. And I mean, I got to the point where I put water in there and it comes out under the fender. The drain is clear. So it continued to wet the headliner. So I'm like, what the hell? So a few months ago, I pulled the sun visor off. I put the A-pillar trim off. I pulled the grab bar off. Now I pull that corner of the headliner down, and I'm looking up there, and I can see the sunroof. And I saw, it was funny, Kenny, Renter with Kenny, the guy will be in the week after next. He worked on a car just like that. And he said what happens is those tubes, they run them down the A-pillar, and over years, the tubes kind of shrink and contract. And they give you just enough tube. And the one that he was working on pulled off the nipple on the sunroof. So I'm looking at mine, and it was a little tight. I pulled it off. I noticed the nipple had it was like a little bit of it had cracked off, and how that happened, I don't know. So I was able to free up some hose. I think I'm confused now. I think maybe in his video he lengthened his. I was able to free some up and push it, really send it onto that nipple, and I put a clamp on it. I thought everything was fine until, it was fine for a little while, and now the headliner was getting wet again, same spot. So just today, I'm sitting there and it was a beautiful afternoon. I did a few things out back. I was, tidying up some stuff on the house. And I said, I should really go look at that car again. But I don't want to do it. That's what I'm going to keep saying that. I don't want to do it. Just like going to the dentist. I got to just go do it. So I took a molding tool. I took a Phillips head screwdriver, go out front, pull the headline down. I'm looking. I thought the hose might have loosened up. Now the hose is on there. I got my garden hose. And I opened the sunroof, poured water in that corner. It went right down the drain. I said, okay, the drain's not clogged. Closed the sunroof, and I just started wetting that whole corner of the car. And I got the liner pulled down. I'm looking up with my light, dry as a freaking bone. Not a drip coming in. And I know it doesn't take a lot of rain because it could just be like a misty rain, and I'll go out to the car, and it'll be wet. And to dry it out, I just open the windows, open the sunroof a little, and then it'll dry out within the day. So I was talking to Mike at the shop, and he says, what the glass guys are doing now is they're spraying they'll spray glass cleaner outside the car, all around the window and everywhere, and then they'll use compressed air on top of that to force it in, and you'll see bubbles coming through.
Yeah.
All right. I left everything off. I figured next time it rains, I'm just going to pull that corner down and look at it and say, where are you coming from? But try me now. I had the hose on there for 15 minutes, totally soaking the area.
Yeah.
Nothing. Can't.
I've done that with I've sealed the car up, and sealed the car up and turned the blower motor on, on high, sealed the car up and sprayed soapy water, and I've seen where bubbles are. And it'll do it. If you have access to a smoke machine, that's another thing that I've done that's what we used to do at the dealership.
Yeah.
We had a smoke machine that had a cigarette lighter adapter so that we could hook it right into the cigarette lighter, close the car up.
Right.
And you just let the car fill it with smoke, and you'll start seeing where it comes out.
Yeah.
But on the cabriolets and all that stuff, we used to just seal it, close off, put it on recert, so you close off the outside,
right,
and crank the blower motor on high, and spray it down, and it'll build up pressure because that's a pretty small car.
Yeah,
it'll build up some pressure, and you'll see you'll get a bubble. You gotta use really soapy water, like Spray 9 with some dishwashing soap in it. You want soap water,
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because I was thinking too, just last year I had the windshield replaced. I thought maybe it's the windshield. Maybe the windshield gasket is, is faking. But again, I had water right over that front corner, so I don't know.
Or you just build a little stand or something and lay the water on there and just let it run and just sit in there and wait. Because that's another thing we used to do, just sit there and wait till it finally. But it could be something stupid where it has to be at a right angle.
It doesn't take a lot for it to happen when it rains, though. I mean, it's not even a heavy rain, just like a misting, drizzling rain, and I'll go out and I'll see that stain. I'm like, damn. So now that's why I just left it loose, because I can just pull that corner down now and look immediately and see if I can see anything.
Yeah, That's a pain in the ass.
It is. So I'm
I
heading
got.
up. What's that?
Oh, I mean, I got. I've had the same thing in other cars where you just, like I said, like, why is this? What, why we used to have a lot of problems, like where the hose came down towards the bottom of the car,
Mm-hmm.
and where it would come out, it would like pop off and lay in the channel. Then the floor would be wet,
Right,
and
right.
and and of course the funny part is, you'd pour the water down and it would drain out the hole.
Yeah.
But it's not the full amount because there's still some leaking inside. So you're like, oh, the drain's okay. But then you realize that that's not hook connected.
It's like a universal.
Maybe that hose is split.
Well, it's like a universal thing that they were chinsy with those hoses.
Yeah.
It's just a piece of hose. I mean, and mine would be right up in that corner. I mean, it comes out of the sunroof. I mean, maybe there's like 2 inches and then it curves down. I mean, it's right there. So that's where but I really don't think it's the sunroof. I can always pull the hose off and take it. But that hose is nice and pliable and flexible. I don't know.
I didn't know if you had a hole in the hose.
Yeah. Well, I did like I said, I did take my garden hose and I put water right into that corner of the open sunroof. So it would go down the drain. And it's got to go through that hose. And I didn't see anything. I was listening to it. I held it until I heard it hitting the ground.
Yeah.
I couldn't get down and look at the same time, but I heard it. So I know, okay, it's traveling down, it's going, and it's taking its path. But and then I looked inside and didn't see anything wet. So yeah, I don't know. Anyway, I'm heading to the shop tomorrow morning. I asked Mike. I told him, I said, I said, I got that stupid luck where I've gotten like 5 paint chips on my car, all in my garage. I said, I take the car out and nothing happens to it. It sits in the garage and something falls.
Yeah.
The first day I had it home, I backed it in and a squirrel got in my garage and knocked something. I never have squirrels in the garage. The first afternoon it was home. It was like, here you go. I said, and other stupid shit. It's always been stupid shit. So I said, I've been taking the touch-up paint and dabbing it on, but it doesn't dry right. It doesn't look right. It's like, and Elliot was telling me he dealt with a guy years ago. He was like called the chip doctor. He says he'll come to your house. He'll ask you for some information. He'll get the color code for your car. And he'll make up some paint, and then he knows how to lay it in, I guess, and maybe either sand it or polish it or whatever, and make it look. So that's what I said to Mike. I said, look, I'm not a body guy. I'm not a polish guy. I said, I'm not about to take sandpaper to my car.
Yeah,
I see those guys wet sand. I get itchy. I like freak out when I see that.
Yeah.
And so I said, do you know a guy locally who does that? And he said, well, yeah, there is a guy that I've heard would do it. He goes, but we can do that. And he's got a body shop. So I said, why don't you bring it down to the shop on Saturday morning? And he said, I'll put Hector on it. Hector's the guy who painted the car. I said, okay. So he called me today and he said, listen, I'll tell you what, can you come tomorrow, Friday? Come tomorrow morning. This way, we'll have more time. I can put it, instead of using a hairdryer to cure it, we'll throw it in the booth.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, all right. So I'll probably be there all day tomorrow, but let's see if I can get my 5 or 6 paint chips taken care. And then I get to start from scratch again. Oh, don't say scratch. That's a bad word. I'll start from new.
Yeah, that's that's one of those things where like when you get the new car, you just go outside right when you're in the dealership, you can walk right over and you just go ahead and put a dent in it, because that way it's over and done with, and you don't, it's done, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. That would draw. I mean, I'm not going to lie. That's one of the things with my Mustang, and I had gotten, I had, of course, this was many years ago. I caught somebody trying to break into the car. out in front of the house.
Uh-huh.
You know, the one time that I didn't put the car in the garage.
Yeah.
I wake up in the middle of the night and I catch somebody breaking, trying to get in the car. And I'm not going to lie, from that night on, that car never left my sight.
Yeah.
And that's, and over the time, even the time that when I moved here, of course, I'm on a main road and I pushed the car outside and I went in to go take a leak and come back, and there's two people standing at the car, that pulled off the road, pulled in the driveway, and they're digging around in the car. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, what? I hate the sound as much as I would wish that it was running. That's part of the, I'm fine that it's here. It can't, it can't go anywhere.
I know.
It's crazy.
It's like me. Even last year, the guy who runs the shop, like where I work out of, Ronnie, he said to me, he goes, "Hey, I haven't seen you around. You haven't had your car around too much." I'm like, no, I really haven't had it out. He goes, a problem with it? And I said, no problems. He goes, it's because it's painted, right? I was like, yeah, it is. I said, Ronnie, and the reality is it's gotten damaged in my garage already multiple times.
More than me driving it.
Yeah, when I go out, it's fine.
Yeah.
I leave it out. I mean, I'm a cruiser. It's fine. At home, it gets chips.
Yeah.
I said, he goes, you liked it better when it was primer, didn't you? I'm like, I absolutely did. I really did. I would just take it anywhere. It's like, what's it going to do? Get dirty? What are you, it's going to be you're going to get another little dent or scratch. Big deal. And even then, it never got damaged, when it was primed. Like paint it and put new trim on it and everything. Yeah, there you go.
It was funny yesterday. It was last Friday. I was sitting. It was before I went into my first stop, and I was sitting in a parking lot, and I was getting the stuff ready for the shop. The stuff that they ordered and so forth, and
right.
I had to run a couple credit cards. I called the guys and they said, I'll go ahead and run my card now. Cause I usually run them, at 4 a.m. when I get up. But so I ran the credit card. And so I'm in the back of the truck and I was parked down from the parking lot and I had taken up like 3 spaces. I'm parked a little sideways in the tool truck. I'm in the back. I get everything done. And I come out and I walk around and this guy just pulls up next to the driver's door. I'm like the truck is sideways. So the line is like my front bumper is on the line
to
the next parking space. He pulls up right there and squeezes out of the truck and he squeezes out of his car. And literally, you can't walk in between his car and my front bumper.
Yeah.
So he squeezes out, closes the door, and walks around the truck. And I come walking around the corner, and there's like the whole lot's empty. And I said, "Are you serious?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Oh, I'll only be a minute," and walks off.
Oh man.
Oh, Ray, I wanted to so bad just to open my door and just like cram it in the side of his. It was like, dude, we have a whole parking lot and you got to park next to my truck like that.
Yeah, that's the stuff you can't explain.
Yeah. So, oh, well. All right, Ray. Well, it's that time.
All right. Listen, you have a good time on Sunday with Chris. I'm sure you guys will have a blast.
Yeah. Hopefully
I'm sure he'll think of something to keep you amused. I know. And just keep him on his toes.
I just hope that everything goes smooth and what's her name doesn't throw her arms up in the air and throws the switch,
I hope to God that station is squared away. There haven't been any emails this week saying that they're off the air or anything. So I guess, you know what, I'll reach out to her in the next day or two just to see how everything's going.
Yeah.
And if there's anything to report, I'll let you guys know what's going on.
Yeah.
But I gave her all the information, how to sign in at Like Me and everything. And, she should have no trouble doing that. She knows how to get me if there's a problem. And you too, if there's any issues, I just made a copy of the login thing, so I'll have that with me at the car show on Sunday. So if there's any issues, I'll have it right at my fingertips.
Yeah, no, we should be good. But like I said, I can't wait, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully I can do my best Wolfman Jack impersonation.
Yeah, and remember, like I said, unless Kim can run roughshod over Rob, the meeting probably won't be open until somewhere within the last 5 minutes, 5 to 12. Yeah, because she's got to play the promos and all. She gives me usually 3 of them. I never really look at the time. But between those 3 and my intro and a legal ID, it's got to be the better part of 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes. So yeah, it'll probably be from 5 minutes on is probably when she'll, unless she can do it earlier. You could start it at 10. You can start looking at 10 and see, but I don't know. It all depends on.
Like I said, I was actually I joked around with the wife. I said she goes because I told her what the fiasco last week, And I said, she goes, "Are you still you still going on?" And I was like, "Yeah, we're still and she goes, "Oh wow," and I said, "Yeah," I said, "Hopefully," I said, I know in my mind I sound like Wolfman, but who knows what I sound like on the other end." And she just laughed. She goes, "Do you think anybody knows who Wolfman Jack is?" And I said, "Probably not, but at least it's the right person to have as a motto."
Right.
Because actually it was funny because me and Mom were talking about American Graffiti the other day.
Oh
wow. She's like, "I would like to see. I haven't seen that movie in so long." And I told her, I said, "Mom, you got YouTube." She watches YouTube like we do, like regular TV,
Right.
And I said, she goes, "Really?" And I said, "Mom, all you gotta do is type in American Graffiti, and you can watch any movie,
Yep, that's right.
But it was funny. So
cool, very good.
Oh well,
you have a good time with Chris. I'm sure he'll keep you laughing.
Yeah, well, it's either he'll love me or hate me by the time we get done.
And if you want, when it gets to the bottom of the hour, he's going to do the reads. He'll do the read and he'll do the weather. You can ask him, "Hey, Chris, do we have another group of the hour?" Set him up.
I'll set him up.
Well, yes, Brian, I do. I'm sure it'll be very theatric.
I hope I can do well. I mean, handle it.
Yeah.
So
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. That's again another reason I wanted you to be in last week, because again, the more you do it, the more familiarity there is. And I mean, now you've been through the worst that could be. So
I know, that's crazy.
I mean, being kicked off the air would be easier. Really. So, it's just a matter of, you just keep you cool and you
just keep plugging. It was funny though, because Chris goes, "We have to watch because we never know when we're going to pop on the air."
That's right. And it was live. You guys were, I had the Zoom meeting recording. So yeah, that was recording. So he's right. That's one of the first things he taught me. Well, 2 things was, whenever you're in a proximity of a room that has a microphone, assume it's hot.
Yeah.
And that's what the dopey politicians don't do. They get caught all the time. He says, and the other thing is, never read something blindly that someone hands you when you're live on the air. Never do a live read, because, and I said, "Why?" And he says, "Well, it goes back to college radio. Professionals wouldn't do it. But in college radio, guys would, hand him something, one of his buddies, and it would sound like a good read for like the local deli or whatever. And they throw in some crazy, something crazy that wouldn't get you kicked off the air, but you shouldn't be saying or whatever." And
right.
He's like, "Yeah, so you never read anything without reading first." I'm like, that's smart. All right.
All right, Ray. Well, you take it easy.
All right, Brian. We'll talk soon. I'll give you a buzz on Sunday and see how everything went when I get whatever it is I get home. I don't know.
Yeah, that's not a problem. No problem.
All right, Brian.
All right. Take care. Take it later, Ray.
So long.